Chair of Community Board Two's SLA committee. And also on the committee, I have Cormac Flynn, Bob Ely, Brian Pape, Erica Olson, Dr. Shirley Smith, and Katie Bordernaro are here now. I'm hoping everybody has signed in. Everybody should sign in whether you're speaking or not. There are agendas up here. There are speaker cards up here. So if you're here from the public and wish to speak on an application, please make sure you filled out a speaker card. I will be taking the items out of order. I will call, the applicants will come up and they will present their application to the committee. They will be directing the committee. The committee will then ask questions. The applicants can respond. Once we are done with that, we will go to the public. If I don't call on your name, if I miss a speaker card or you feel compelled to speak because of something you heard and you didn't fill out a speaker card, just raise your hand or come up when I go to the public and you can speak. Everybody, public should be addressing the committee as well, not the applicants. I ask that everybody speak respectfully to each other. I really ask that everybody use the microphones. That includes all the committee members. We have microphones up here that we can pass around. Everybody needs to speak into the microphone. The microphone stand raises and lowers. The microphone comes out of it. So you should be good to go with that. Once we've heard from the public, the applicants can address any issues or concerns that were raised, and the committee can do any follow-up, and then that's it. I think that covers everything. Once again, For Charles is not appearing. We saw them last month. They are signing stipulations from then, so there's no reason for them to be here. Christopher Street Hospitality at 115 Christopher Street laid over during our meeting last month to reach out to the neighbors. They have not been able to do that, but have been in connection, and they will be doing that now. So they'll be back next month. And Spunto at 65 Carmine had to lay over at the last minute. So that's it. The first application we will be taking is Sabor Argentino Corp at 57 7th Avenue. This is a restaurant wine. It's a corporate change. If you're here on that application, is anybody here on that application? Okay, so that's, I'll go back and call that again. Okay. Then the next one is Gen Manhattan 6th LP at 392 Avenue of the Americas. This is an on-premise for a restaurant. If you're here on that application, can you come up? May have to, there's a little blue button on top that you may have to turn off. Sorry.
Hello.
That's it.
Hi, I'm Stacy Weiss. I'm the attorney for Gen Manhattan. And I have with me the manager and Mr. Kim's associate. This is Andrew Whitehead and this is Joseph Sue. He's the manager. He's currently managing the place up at 14th Street. What's the address of that?
So Mr. Kim is not here, the principal?
No, he's traveling right now. He travels all over the world because he has places. He has 42 restaurants.
You need to speak into the microphone.
Yes, he has 42 restaurants across the country, and he's always traveling to the different restaurants.
Okay.
And so.
So I have Andrew is the manager.
And Mr. Sue is representing Mr. Kim.
Okay.
His name is Joseph Sue. He's been with the company for over 20 years.
Okay.
Okay. And he's been in the business for that long too.
And what is his role in the business?
Is
he
like,
part of the business?
Yes, he's part of the business.
Or do you want to just introduce you?
Joseph Sue, the regional manager. Anything in the East Coast, I oversee all the.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is gonna be an all-you-can-eat barbecue Korean restaurant, serving obviously Korean barbecue as well as sushi. It's gonna be located at 388 Sixth Avenue and it's 388-392, I believe, Sixth Avenue. It's gonna be 2 floors to the restaurant. And it's gonna be, like I said, all you can eat barbecue Korean. And then they're gonna have tables set aside for people to make their own food on it, like, Korean barbecue. And then they're gonna have 2 bars in the place, one on the first floor, one on the second floor.
Okay,
Um,
hours?
Hours 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. every day.
Okay, so, it's background music only,
Background music only, yes, only
no
background.
TVs, no outside seating.
No outside seating.
You have the first floor and the second floor. There's a basement.
No, no.
They're not for
no.
you, but in the building?
No, no,
Is there a
new
fourth
construct-
floor?
They're redoing the building. They tore it down and construction.
Right, so it's a new, so there's floors above you, or do you have the whole building? That's what, yeah, we have to, Stacy, you gotta,
I'm sorry, yeah, there's total of 3 floors, but we're taking over the 2. the
okay.
first 2, yeah.
So in terms of your diagram, just so I have some clarity on that.
Yeah.
There are 4 doors facing Sixth Avenue. The northernmost door, and then there's a door that goes in, and if you follow it down on your plans, it says elevator lobby, it goes to an elevator, and there's some other stairway. Is that part that's in the middle, is that part of your premises, or is that for the other tenants of the building?
The middle part?
Yeah.
No,
this
that,
This part here. See where it goes back, and it says elevator and stairs in this middle, is that?
yeah, so the customer will have the option of using the elevator or the stairs to get to.
This part, so that's your entryway too. Okay. And so all of these doors are your entryways.
Yes.
Okay. You need.
Is that exclusively your elevator and lobby, or is that shared with other tenants in the building?
As of right now, it's only for us because we're just taking the first and
You
the
need to
second-
hold the microphone.
first and the second floor. And
Right.
I do not know, the 3rd floor is vacant.
Right, but what happens when somebody moves into the 3rd floor? Will they be using that as well? I think that's what we're trying to get to.
Yes. I believe.
If they're going to have a 3rd floor tenant, there'll be somebody downstairs to take people up to their floor. In other words, there won't be people just going up in the elevator to the 3rd floor without,
I'm
Somebody-
actually more concerned about people going to the 1st and 2nd floor, just
Right.
going to the 3rd floor.
right. So they'll have, if they're going to be more people in the building, which would be a commercial building, if there's gonna be another commercial premises, they will have somebody that keys the elevator.
So what is the main entrance to the restaurant?
It's at 388 Sixth Avenue. Okay, that's the main entrance.
So is that the northernmost door? Can we just speak north and south on this? Because it's one big building, you don't see the numbers on,
It's 388 to 392.
right?
So 388 would be the main door, and then the other ones will be extra doors for exiting. For exiting.
Can you just point out which
Yeah.
doors you're talking about on the? So that's where, what door is
Just
that?
hang on a second. Yeah, can we just go north, south and count the doors from right-hand side of the page to left-hand side of the page or something?
Okay, so this is where the people come in, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it's gonna be all the way to the right.
Okay, so which,
Right there.
that's this doorway?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's gonna be the one to the right.
Good.
That's the main entrance.
Which? Okay, so did everybody hear that? It's the southern door that's right next to the subway entrance. So you see the subway entrance there? That's the subway
To the
entrance.
right.
So it's the one that's right to the left of that. To the left
Right,
of the
To the
subway.
left of the
entrance.
subway. Correct.
Okay, and then Cormac will go to you in a second, or unless, yeah, why don't you go ahead, Cormac?
Yeah, it is, Carter was just saying to me, the former entrance to the grab and go space, right? So here's what confused me about. Yeah, that's the one that is exactly, yes. So this is what confused me about what you just said. The doorway is immediately to the north of that, right next to it. Looks to me on your diagram like that is access to a lobby that is not part of your restaurant space for people to go up to whatever retail they have upstairs. Is that correct?
Well, this goes to the second,
Is it-
one,
Because I'm seeing a shaded area where the elevator lobby is that I was presuming from the diagram because of the way it's shaded is actually not part of your restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, not part and scope of work. Yeah. So I'm assuming that's right. Yeah. So your restaurant, it just sneaks around it, right? All right. So that's the answer to if there are people on the third or fourth floor of the elevator, is that they have to, they'll be entering through a separate lobby and not through the restaurant.
right, that's
Okay.
right, yeah.
Thanks.
Say the elevator is part of your premises, so that's correct or not correct? I think that should be better.
It
Yeah.
is, but let's
Right.
make sure.
It's not part of the premises. People will be, if they need to use the elevator, they will be keyed. Somebody
So-
will come down and key them up.
So here it becomes, my question is about that is where does the ADA accessibility issue for the second floor then? Do people who wheelchairs and things just need to be seated on the first floor or what's going on?
No, that's why you have the elevator. The elevator will go to the second floor.
Okay, but how do you get to the elevator from your
So-
space?
Right, there'll be somebody that they would have some kind of a system where they would notify somebody upstairs to come down and key the elevator down.
So somebody will come, but, okay, so if I'm coming in your main door, that door doesn't lead to the elevator, according to your floor plan.
Stacy, you need to use the microphone. Anybody speaking over there needs to use the
Okay.
microphone.
Gotcha. Yeah, right, okay. Right. Yes.
Are we waiting for an answer?
And they'll have a way to notify. Yeah, they'll come in that second entrance on the left. That'll be for the ADA, because that'll go into the lobby to the elevator.
So
And then that way-
People who are in wheelchairs will
Yeah.
come in the northernmost entrance. This is the one that's, if you look at a photograph all the way to the left, just before you get to the wine shop. And they'll go back through the dining area and through this small door here and into the elevator, in the elevator lobby. Okay.
Signage directing them into the lobby.
This is what I'm trying to understand, because I'm hearing two different things. Are they going in through this door, which is the northernmost door? The one that gives on to stair C and reception and the dining area and the bar? Or are you saying that they're gonna come to this main door here and be redirected to the building lobby to the north of it, immediately to the north, that goes back and up through the elevator?
So yeah, if the wheelchair access.
you need to hold the microphone up and speak loudly so
For the
everybody.
ADA, we will have access, we'll have someone open that door.
Okay, all right. So if somebody comes to ADA, they're being seated on the second floor, they get taken out the door into the next door, down the hall, into the elevator, up to the second floor,
Correct.
where I haven't looked at where that comes out on the second floor. On the second floor where it comes out right into your restaurant. Okay. That's what I was looking to know. Thank you.
And then there are
Indeed,
stairs,
Internal stairs.
stairs.
Yes,
So generally speaking, people are going to go in. I'm still not sure which is the main door, the northernmost door, is that what we're saying is the main door?
right by the subway is the main door.
So this,
It's the southernmost door, yeah.
okay. That's interesting because the reception is at the northernmost door.
Mhm.
So I guess there's a reception there too. It says dining area reception. So,
Yeah.
okay, so there's a both.
38 to 392, so they're going to have, the main door is going to be the one on the right, all the way to the right,
Okay,
okay? And this one is more or less, the other ones are gonna be exits, except for the ADA. Yeah, they're gonna be exits except for the ADA, which will be keyed open.
okay. The middle door is going to be the ADA.
Exactly,
Then
exactly.
the northernmost door, the door furthest to the left is just another entry exit.
Right.
They can enter, there'll be
Right.
somebody there to meet them,
Right. I
but
see.
it's mostly gonna be for exiting purposes.
Okay, all right. And so the hours are 11 to 12. There's the tables I counted all seem to pretty much match up with
Yeah.
with what you had there. And so for the ADA access, just to be clear on that, anybody who needs that, they will come in through the lobby door and be escorted into the
Yeah,
restaurant and then be
exactly.
escorted out, so they can't go up to the third floor.
Exactly.
Otherwise, nobody's using that main
Right,
entrance.
exactly.
And there are bathrooms on the first floor
And the second floor,
and the second floor.
and they'll be ADA compliant.
Okay. Does anybody from the committee, Cormac, go ahead?
So, okay, so I'm assuming in terms of experience, right, the method of operation, this is gonna be much like your place on 14th Street and Third Avenue, just larger.
Exactly.
Okay. And you said about private events and parties and promote events just not applicable. Does that mean there will be no? Okay, just wanted to be clear.
Yes, no private events.
Tell me about, you have a plan to manage and address vehicular traffic and crowd control on the sidewalk?
Yes, they're gonna have somebody, a security person on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like they have at the other place,
Uh-huh,
that, make sure that the sidewalk is clear. Plus, they have a QR system where people are gonna be given a wait list. And then they could either wait inside or they could take a walk around,
right, but there'll be no,
no congregating outside.
So
Yeah,
there'll be an
no-
electronic reservation
Yeah.
system that people can.
Yeah,
tap.
yes,
so no ropes or barriers or anything on, okay.
yes.
Okay, I thought I had I don't have any, another question, but I just wanted to, technical thing for everybody. I mean, the space has been renovated, but it says new construction in a lot of places. Just so for the record, this space combines what was most recently the Grab and Go grocery store and the Staples, office supply store. And had various incarnations before that. The building is not as a whole, though, a new construction. In fact, it's an individual landmark. So,
Thank you for that. Does anybody else from the committee have anything? Katie?
So it does say the application I read said you said, no, we're not in a historic district.
I'm
And-
sorry, it's what?
Your application incorrectly says you're not in a historic district and you are in a historic district. So be sure your questionnaire is correct.
Oh, landmark district, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And can you tell us what community outreach you've done?
There's several community associations.
Yeah, but did you reach out to the 8th Street Block Association?
We sent to several associations.
Soho's far away and they sent back that they don't have anything to do with us.
I'm sorry?
Soho is very far away from
Okay,
this.
but there's several of them we wrote to.
Who?
Several,
I looked at the things online and I didn't see that you reached out to the 8th Street neighbors.
tell you who we reached out to.
Yeah, I saw. The Village Alliance is not a community organization that has neighbors. Yeah, Cormac,
We reached out to Greenwich Village NYC. We reached out to, and he got back to us, Scott, from that organization. Let's see, that's Scott Hobbs.
Okay, so for future reference, there is, I believe, on the website, a list of contacts and people we recommend that you reach out to from neighborhood groups.
It's like
Um,
reached out to.
Yeah, the West Eighth Street Block Association, which immediately abuts you, would have been the most important group. They were not, to answer your question, they were not reached out to,
Okay,
but I alerted them and sent them a copy of the question and
Okay.
application and discussed with them. There were no objections raised
okay,
to the operation from them.
okay. Yeah, we reached out to about 10, 15, maybe 20 organizations. Or, yeah, that was.
Well,
it was-
and I mean, I don't believe like the Central Block, Village Block Association or anything like that.
Reached out to,
Fifth is a block away or.
CB Partnership, David Gruber,
Right, that's
Fort
that's
Canary.
a little bit far. There's also a nice street. Anyway,
Are we okay with this, though? I mean.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
just.
Yeah,
for
but
future
that's fine. We
reference,
don't need
get
to-
better,
right.
Get closer.
Does anybody else from the committee have anything? Yeah, is there anybody here from the public on this one? Okay, I think that does it.
Okay, so we're good to go? Thank
Yeah,
you.
Good
Thank
to
you
go.
very much.
Well,
Appreciate it. very
thank you. Yeah, I mean, we'll, Stacy, no, we'll send you a stipulation agreement. Sign it, yeah, okay. Okay, the next application is going to be Two Guys in a Fish Tank LLC doing business as Cecchi's Bar and Grill, 105 West 13th Street. This is an alteration application to add sidewalk seating. Is anybody here from that? Okay, so we'll move on from that one. Go back and call that again. Okay, so then the next one I'm gonna call is Ruby's West Village, doing business as Little Ruby's at 225 West Fourth Street. Another on-premise for a restaurant to add outdoor seating. With the blue button.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening, Ben Savitsky, Bernstein, Rado and Savitsky here for Ruby's West Village LLC. They do business as Little Ruby's Cafe. They operate a restaurant and cafe with a full on-premises liquor license at 225 West Fourth Street. That is the intersection of West Fourth Street and Seventh Avenue. It's kind of like a triangle, an apex, if you're not familiar with it. We're here on an alteration application to add a unenclosed sidewalk cafe under the New York City Department of Transportation Dining Out Program. The sidewalk cafe will be 36 seats with 17 tables. Our hours of operation that we're proposing are 9 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. daily. As part of, by the way, this is Tim Sykes. He is an owner and operator of the business. As part of this application, we did a good amount of outreach. We reached out to some neighborhood associations, but more important than that, we got a whole bunch of petition signatures and some letters from residents in the neighborhood, which we provided to the community board office. I do have hard copies of them if you guys would like to review them. We got 77 petition signatures, 7 from West 10th Street and West 4th Street, 37 within 2 to 3 blocks. There were 88 letters of support, 39 within 2 to 3 blocks, and 8 that are directly there. We have support from 238 West 4th Street, 239 West 4th Street, 184 West 10th Street, 117 7th Avenue. So pretty much in the direct area. If you look at the petition signatures and the letters of support that we got, you'll notice a few. Yes.
They're in the drive too, but he can hand them to you, Katie. Just so the committee knows they're in the drive.
The only reason that I'm calling them out is just because I want the community board to know that there are a few things that people reference consistently in these letters. One is Riviera Cafe, which was there for about 40 years and had a sidewalk cafe, which was pretty much the exact same size as what we're proposing here. Two is the location. People say that they would like the location a little bit more active at night. They get a little bit nervous walking around, and having some seats outside would really help. That's what they're bringing to the neighborhood. And the third is that there's a whole bunch of stories in there of people who during the day they go and they drop their kids off at school and they're coming back and they would like to have a coffee outside or a croissant. They can't really find that in the neighborhood, and they really love what Ruby's is doing. With that, we also have a really nice letter from the Grove Street Block Association. Somebody who personally talks about his experience with Riviera Cafe, the outdoor seating, and how Ruby's is bringing that back to the neighborhood, and he's really enthusiastic about it. Today, we also had a letter that was submitted from the landlord of the building, voicing her support for the application. She is also part of a family that used to own Riviera, and she has personal experience about what was there before. With that, we can open it up to questions.
You sent that letter to the office too?
It was sent to the office, yeah, and we have some copy if you would like it.
If you send it to the office, it's okay. Okay, so the first question I'm going to ask you is the fence. Is the fence still there on West 4th Street, and is the fence there on 7th Avenue South?
Not on 4th Street, on the 7th Avenue side.
It's not on 4th Street. When was it removed? Could we, everybody, I'm gonna say this, it's the thing I'm gonna say all night. I implore everyone, you need to speak into the microphone. You need to step up to it and you need to speak into it or hand it around. Go ahead.
Apologies. Hi, everyone. It's been removed on the West 4th side and it's still present on the 7th Avenue
And when
side.
was it removed?
Sorry?
When was it removed?
Last year when we first had the SLA meeting in October.
On West 4th Street, the
Correct?
black metal fence was removed.
Yes, ma'am.
It's still on 7th Avenue though.
It's still on West 4th Street. I mean, I have a photo of it from 3 weeks ago. It's still on West 4th Street.
I mean, I can pull up some pictures of it if you like.
It's. So, okay, so that was my question with that. And then are people sitting outside? Are people being served outside? You need to step up to the microphone.
Sorry. No, they do wait in the Apex area.
So people aren't sitting outside on
No,
7th
no
Avenue.
service at all on 7th Avenue, no.
Okay, okay.
That includes in the triangle at the end, you're saying?
Down there below FedEx?
Yeah, but where 4th and 7th
This is
meet.
There's
actually,
no service there. We use it as a staff area.
so there's nobody who's sitting down below the FedEx area and there's nobody sitting at that far triangle area of West 4th Street and 7th Avenue.
The
That is
staff
not
utilize
my
it, but
observation.
it's not a service area in any way.
That is not what I have observed.
Me either. Okay. I'm gonna send it to, so, and then my last thing is, so you have diagrams here. And you're proposing seating on the West 4th Street side. And how wide is that sidewalk?
The sidewalk on West 4th Street is 8 feet from the temporary fence that we'll put up, the removable fence. This application has been submitted to DOB and they have signed off on all the clearances and the measurements.
They may have signed off on it, but that's not.
So we have
Wide is the sidewalk?
12 feet on 7th Avenue and 8 feet on West 4th Street.
And how wide is the sidewalk is what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you
Oh.
what is left. I'm asking you how wide the sidewalk is.
I could calculate that. On 7th Avenue, it is 19 feet. On West 4th Street, it looks about 14 feet.
No, it's more like 11 feet on West 4th Street. I'm just telling you what's on the maps and what people measure. Okay, I'll go to other members. Is there anybody else from the committee? And then I'll just go to the public.
Well, the diagram which you included in the drive and which I have in front of me, I see the sidewalk as I see where you get the 19. But on the West 4th Street side, you do not have a measurement that goes, you do not have a measurement that is accurate. You have a measurement on an angle. So I can't tell from this diagram how wide the sidewalk is.
So if you look at the DOT, you guys asked for the DOT form that's submitted,
Yep.
and that has more measurements on there, and you can see the
Where-
measurements there.
Where is that in the packet?
That's in this. Do you have it in the packet? It's in the drive. It's called DOT site plan. I'm just saying it is,
yeah,
in
yeah,
the- it has been
I
in the
looked
drive. It's in-
yesterday, but I didn't, I know what's the diagram.
And that's where you're saying there is no fence. Just for clarity's sake. The wrought iron fence you're saying is not there where that measurement goes to.
Right here. Is there a wrought iron fence here?
It is on that small apex section, but the rest of it's been removed along the whole.
So that's what she was asking. Okay.
Right.
So he's saying in the apex section, which is this triangle here, the fence is still here, but it's been removed from over here on West Fourth Street.
Okay.
So maybe that was the confusion.
It was supposed to be removed from West Fourth Street, all of it. And then the DOT also, the fence is supposed to be temporary. It's not supposed to be on the sidewalk welded down. So is the fence being removed?
Well, so we've had conversations with DOT about this, and they say that they believe it is grandfathered, so we don't have to remove it, but we told them that if they figure out that it is not grandfathered, then we will remove it and we'll put down the temporary.
Okay. Okay, anybody else from the committee have anything?
Can you hear me? Okay, good. So, looking at the diagram, there's a section that says enclosed restaurant extension. Isn't that not an enclosed sidewalk cafe?
It is an enclosed sidewalk cafe that was included with the original application that went to the SLA.
Okay, and how many seats and chairs are in that enclosed sidewalk cafe?
So in our application, it shows you know what, I have it written here. So there are 20 seats in that enclosed sidewalk cafe,
One seat,
20 seats,
20 seats, and how many tables?
10. There are two tops.
So 10.
10.
And so this 4-foot metal fence, that is on the theory that it belongs in your property line? Is that why you installed a metal fence on the sidewalk?
The metal fence wasn't installed by them. It was from the previous operator, and DOT is saying that it may be grandfathered.
Right, but that enclosed sidewalk cafe that was allowed many, many years ago is on the sidewalk. Would you not agree?
We have DOT approval for the enclosed sidewalk cafe.
That's not my point. My
So-
point is this barrier that's been created in the middle of the sidewalk is exactly the same distance out on the sidewalk as the enclosed sidewalk cafe. So
Correct.
this is now being called enclosed restaurant extension when in fact it's a sidewalk cafe. Okay, so it's just, we're mincing words here, but it's like you're causing a new extension of your property line out on the sidewalk.
So
I don't know how else you can install a gate or a fence on the public sidewalk if it's not on your property.
So the enclosed sidewalk cafe has been there for 40 years, the same as the unenclosed sidewalk cafe that's been there for 40 years in some fashion. The fence has been there for 40 years, and DOT is saying, yes, it is on sidewalk property, on DOT property, but they believe it is grandfathered.
So they're saying that a fence, which is basically installed to the sidewalk on a public sidewalk, is somehow grandfathered in? How can you get a grandfathered situation with public property? How is that possible?
DOT has told us that it is, I'm not saying
I
that.
mean, you're a lawyer. I don't know how that happens. Can you tell me how that happens?
The way things are grandfathered, I don't really
Okay, so
understand.
DOT obviously is not a lawyer, so I'm just.
They are not. by the way, if DOT tells us that you gotta remove it, we're removing it. We're not trying to get around anything.
But the theory of it being so-called grandfathered is one of a legal term. It's a legal term of art saying that you were legally allowed or you were legally permitted to do that many years ago, and then the law changed. Okay, the law never changed, and this is public property. So I just, I'm just talking from lawyer to lawyer here. How's that possible?
I'm not sure, but again, DOT is telling us that it may be, and that's the only thing I'm telling you. But I'm also telling you that if DOT is saying, hey, we really messed up, it's not grandfather, we're saying no problem, we'll take it out.
Except that you're telling me that's not a new gate? It looks like a brand new gate.
The new gate.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I got photos to prove and also,
Step
I
up
think,
to the microphone.
sorry, apologies. That's the exact same fence. It was there. We just repainted it when it came down. But essentially, when we asked them about the gate, they said it could be considered historic use category, and they were going to let us know what we need to do with the gate. So we
Then
didn't.
what did they say about the 6 feet clearance to the gate? On a sidewalk?
They signed
don't
off on
care
all the
that it's
dimensions
supposed
of-
to be 8 feet anymore, they just care that
We
it's
sent
6
through
feet?
exactly how it is and sent it through them, and we do a formal
But
site.
if it's
survey.
6 feet on there, it's not 8 feet to that fence. It's 6 feet, 6 inches to that fence. I'm just telling you what the
So-
measurement is.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if
No, I
you give
understand.
them wrong measurements, they're gonna go
I
by what you
completely
write
understand. It's a
down,
narrow sidewalk, but
not what it actually is, and it actually is 6 feet, 6 inches.
And just to follow up, so this triangle area where there is another gate that surrounds the triangle on the public sidewalk, are you saying that that somehow was there for so long that somehow this is grandfathered in on the public sidewalk?
I mean, I can show you the email if you want to read it here. We're not
Okay.
requesting anything from the DOT. We're just taking direction from them. It's not us fighting for anything at this stage.
Yeah, but I'm specifically asking about a metal gate. I'm not
That's
asking about
been there.
anything else. Metal
been
gate in
to the best of my
enclosed onto a
knowledge.
sidewalk.
To the
Embedded.
best of my knowledge, it's been there for 40+ years.
Okay.
So, but I'm looking at a photograph of the property from right before you moved in. And it shows the part of the fence that you removed on West Fourth, right? But clearly you added a fence to then enclose because you only removed it down to a certain point. You didn't remove it all the way to the building line. You left it bulging out on West Fourth near that tip. And you clearly put a piece of fence between it and the wall. What's more, there is no gate in this photograph, which means that the gate has been added at the corner.
There's 2 existing gates. We did close it off because we have to close it off somewhere. It's a triangle. So it has to be closed off somewhere.
You're talking about the side of the gate to the building.
There's no gate on the corner.
Gate existing there and a gate existing.
No, but not in this photo. There's no gate.
The only addition we did was there to close out the outdoor area.
Right, which you were supposed to take it off the entire to the building line on that side, but let's put that aside for a minute. The point is, there's no gate on this fence in this photograph. Mhm. No, that's the leg of the table, isn't it? So I'm not seeing it. That's all I'm saying.
That's the vinyl, isn't it? It's just, or we just paint it and remove the triangle. You've got to kind of close it off somewhere.
Okay, does anybody else from the committee before I go to the public? For now? Okay, I'm gonna go to the public. All right, so I have a number of people here for the public. You could just. Cormac, can you hand him the microphone, please? Come on back for a minute before I go to the public. Carter, go ahead.
I was just curious in what Cormac was just showing you, up to the gate. I think the fence runs along West Fourth Street, correct?
At the apex?
Yeah, all the way. So you
Sure.
removed a portion of the West Fourth Street fence, but a condition of your license was to remove the whole fence.
You got a microphone?
The fence was moved all the way along the side of the building up until the apex, which is where the sidewalk expands. was my
Right,
understanding,
but
was my
wasn't the
understanding of it.
condition of the license that was a condition that was put on by the liquor authority and
We
you
sent,
agreed
we
to.
sent the pictures to the SLA fully showing the exterior. And to my understanding, that was sufficed before they can, so granted us our license.
I'm not sure I understand. So you didn't, or you did, or you didn't
We
remove?
removed the fencing and then sent them all the photos showing that, and I believe they sent an inspector out to check it, and then we got handed our license post that.
So
What you're,
I think there maybe was some confusion about whether or not the Apex was considered part of West Fourth Street. That's what the confusion lies. They removed it along the building length on West Fourth Street. They left it in the Apex. Whether that's right or wrong,
Okay, so I guess, all right, I guess I'm just confused because that fence is on West Fourth. And you guys had agreed to remove it, and then that was made a condition of the license, and you had said that's fine because it's a narrow sidewalk. It's not like the sidewalk became less narrow by leaving the fence. That was you said at the liquor authority, that's fine, it's a narrow sidewalk. Sheriff Fan said, all right, take it down, please, and make that a condition, please.
Yeah, I mean.
And then you guys agreed to it, so.
We removed about 40 foot of that fencing and then sent photos through.
But
6
Showing.
foot,
yeah,
6
but
inch.
what I'm saying is
yeah.
that the narrow condition still exists because you didn't remove the whole fence. I mean, it just seems very straightforward that you didn't comply with that, and that was the one of the main issues at the very end of that discussion at the liquor authority. All right.
Okay, I'm going to go to the public. Nancy, since you're closest and I see you, why don't you start up? Anybody who's here to speak on this application, if you could just come up and line up just to expedite this. And I'm also going to say for everybody here tonight that's here to speak on an application, don't repeat what everybody else has said, but certainly come up and say that you agree or you don't agree. I want to get everybody here on for any application that's here on record that you're here. I just want to, we have a large agenda tonight, so I want to try to keep it not too duplicative. Thank you. I don't care who goes first, I really don't care who goes first. I just, somebody go first.
We won't argue. I don't know that I need to rehearse the whole sorry history of this location. But the original license was denied by the SLA, as you all remember, because of the impressive record of violations racked up by the management at all of their other locations. However, on a rehearing, the SLA did grant a full liquor license on the explicit condition that they could continue to serve in the glassed-in sidewalk cafe, there would be absolutely nothing on the outside. No serving, no furniture, no nothing, and that was specifically agreed to. However, they have put furniture in the apex triangle, using it as a waiting area. I don't really know whether that is legit under the terms of the license, but they are also serving liquor in the 4th Street enclosure. And I have sent you pictures, and Marilyn has sent you pictures, and I have sent pictures to the SLA.
I just want to ask you.
Yeah, the enclosure, what do you mean by there is
West Fourth
an enclosed sidewalk cafe or in the outdoor?
No,
portion?
in the outdoor. In the outdoor
By
space,
the FedEx area,
in
the
the
FedEx area.
fenced-in area, which is primarily full of box plants. But there are also benches there, and there are people drinking there. And if you look at my submission, I think you will see those were taken last week. Marilyn has also pictures. So I really do not think this kind of behavior should be rewarded. I don't know what the SLA's position is going to be on a change of use here, but I certainly can't support it. As to the iron fence, sorry, yes, it has been there for a long time. It's my understanding that it was illegal to start with. So continuing an illegal use for decades does not make it grandfathered, in my opinion, or what my opinion is worth. And furthermore, on the West 4th Street side, I think Donna is correct. There is simply not room for service. That sidewalk is too narrow. And this should not be granted. These people should not be given their locations farther downtown have been noisy and disruptive, and any chance to have this on the sidewalk is going to be noisy and disruptive here. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Good evening, committee members. My name is Alfred Fuente. I'm a
You need
resident.
to come right up to it.
Is that better? Can you hear
Yeah.
me? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, committee members. My name is Alfred Fuente. I am a resident and a new neighbor to Christopher Street. I am a father with a 6-year-old, and we go on many adventures every day on the way to school. Those adventures include avoiding city bike installations, dumpsters, mountains of garbage bags, garbage bins, fire trucks, ambulances, joggers, cyclists, e-bikes, and all of the various moving parts that continue to congest and contribute to the traffic in our neighborhood, which is making it more and more difficult to negotiate the various streets, the narrow streets that encompass this neighborhood. With that in mind, as I go to the West 4th Street section, approaching West 10th Street, it's an extremely narrow area in the neighborhood. And by adding more sidewalk traffic to the neighborhood and to that street is not a benefit to the neighborhood. It is not proposing anything that will improve the livelihoods of the neighbors in the area. It will not make it friendlier for not only parents with children, but also my other neighbors, which are on the older side of the spectrum and that are still trying to get around the neighborhood. I would also like to point out to the committee that on the southwest corner of West 4th Street with West 10th Street, there's already Empellón Taqueria. You have Due West and Fairfax across from that, as well as Doge Jardin and also the small jazz club. All of those establishments already have sidewalk cafes, which cause the pedestrians that are trying to negotiate the, again, various moving parts of the neighborhood to come out of the sidewalk to perhaps be affected by the M8 bus that's cruising down West 10th Street. All of this makes it much more difficult to live in our neighborhood. And I feel that the addition of more seating at these establishments won't result in a net benefit to all of us. If you look closely at the photographs on the West 4th Street side, there's already a dumpster there and a FedEx and the boxes that accompany all of that. And so now to add more chairs and more tables and more people, it won't result in a benefit for the rest of us. With that in mind, the 7th Avenue side is a major thoroughfare, right? I believe there's also maybe a bus stop heading south, and you've got the duplex across the street, which already regularly violates all of the noise ordinances in the city, right? And I'd like to point out that because of the open streets program today, there's plenty of people out in the street after hours making plenty of noise. And in the mornings when I do drop off and as I'm coming back to my apartment, it's between 8:20 and 8:30 in the morning. I don't think any other schools have later drop-offs, and I haven't noticed that in fact, Little Ruby's is open for business to serve the various patrons in the neighborhood that would stop and possibly get a coffee. I may be totally wrong on that, and I stand to be corrected, but I would just like to point out to the committee that based on my experience, that's what I have found. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Lori Buckbinder, are you?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I am a member of the landlord, and my father, Norman Buckbinder, was one of the founding members of the Village Alliance, also the West Union Square Partnership. We have been a family that's been committed to the community. We owned and operated the Riviera Cafe for 48 years. After my father passed away in 2007, we made the difficult decision to close it in 2017. This property and the premises have great sentimental as well as obviously importance in our real estate portfolio. We are very committed to the neighborhood, have been for over 60 years at Buckbinder and Warren. So when we decided to close the Riviera, it was a tall task to find a tenant that we felt would renovate the property and would treat it with the care and attention that we had for all of those years. One of the memorable photographs I have with my father at the outdoor cafe that you're speaking of is with Mayor Koch when he was dining on one of the outdoor cafe at the Riviera. We had owned and operated the Riviera for all of the years, got the licenses for the cafes, both outdoor and enclosed. The premises now has been altered in terms of along the West 4th Street side. We used to have outdoor seating there. I would say that there are fans of the Riviera who are thrilled at what, as we are. I worked hand in hand with the people at Ruby's, going to the construction site of the renovation. What broke my heart was to see it vacant because some of the during the period of time was during COVID. There was graffiti. It was vacant. We had to deal with many issues, quality of life issues there. I would say that they have done a remarkable, beautiful renovation. I have gone there. It is a beacon like the Riviera was. And I would say that they have Ruby's, and in working with them, if there's any issue within the community, we speak to them and we work with them. They're very responsive. I think that they have been stewarding this premises over all of these years that we signed the lease in 2021. It took a long time to renovate the property, to bring it back to its original condition. And I'm proud to say that they're our tenant, and I think they have exemplified a committed tenant in the Greenwich Village neighborhood. And I can say personally, I have a brick from when it was being built in 1969. So we have, the outdoor cafe is the fabric of Greenwich Village. I just, there have been so many wonderful memories that I have, having been there, having seen people enjoy it. I know that Eric Botcher, councilperson, he, in fact, on social media, stated that he was thrilled with the Ruby's new establishment sort of rising as a phoenix where the Ruby used to be. We have enjoyed and worked closely with Tim and his team to make sure that they are doing everything in accordance with the appropriate laws. And I think that I have the history here with respect to the neighborhood and how it had been operated. And so I'm a little surprised that there's so much concern about the outdoor cafes, since over 48 years, there was not an issue, no problem. And, we are the landlord. We are making sure we have lots of properties within Greenwich Village and the surrounding areas. It's important for us and it's important for the community to have good tenants and provide this beautiful landscape for our city. So I am in favor of their application. And I think that Ruby's has done a phenomenal job since they've opened. So Thank you.
Cormac?
Any questions?
Yeah, so maybe you, because you know this deep history, when was the illegal fence installed on the sidewalk?
Why are you saying it's illegal? The fence has
It-
always been there
On
since
the
I've been
sidewalk.
young. I can't speak to your characterization of it being illegal. So
It was controversial when I was young too.
it was never controversial that
I'm sorry,
Understood.
that's not accurate.
that's not accurate. Well,
That's not accurate. I remember as a child being at meetings where people were screaming about that fence.
well, I don't have that recollection. I wasn't at those meetings.
And I mean, there's a problem with the operator, right? And
My experience with the operator has been excellent.
right, I mean, that one of the main principles that you originally executed the lease had to withdraw from the operation because they wouldn't have been able to get a liquor license at this premises. That was a important part of the reconsideration of the liquor license when it was originally denied by the New York State Liquor Authority.
I
And
can't
mean,
speak
that's-
to that because I didn't make that requirement. And my meetings with with the principal that you're speaking about, as well as we meet with every tenant that comes in here, whether they're startup tenants or they're established operators, we have personal meetings with them. So my personal meetings with them were obviously I made the decision to go forward with them.
Did you know anything about our history with the applicants and the problems that some of their other locations that this board had with them?
I went to the other locations. I went and looked at all of the other tenant locations.
Right.
So I'm not on your side of the fence. I'm on my side of the fence, which is looking at tenants who have establishments and do have good track records in terms of reputation. We also have another, we went and got a referral or a recommendation from another longstanding tenant that we have, which is the Tao Group, Mark Packer, who also operates many establishments in the city, Ava restaurants. We spoke to them. They gave us a great evaluation of the Ruby's team.
Okay. And just to go back to Cormac's question, is that fence within the property line?
I
Or
would
is
have
it
to
on the
check. I mean,
city
I would look at it.
property?
I would have, I believe it is, but I would have to double check.
That it's which within the building property line or on?
It has always been there ever since
That wasn't the question I was just asking.
I'm trying to answer your question to the best of my ability. That fence has always been there, and it was
But do
closed.
you believe it's within the property line?
I would have to
What
check.
property?
I would have to check.
Okay, and if it were on public property,
I don't know why it is such an issue if it's always been part of, the restaurant that had been operated by us. There was, despite what, I had never known that there was any controversy of it. And, the outdoor cafes were always, something that was caused delight in terms of people enjoying themselves and being out and about in the city, like there are so many others,
so
thousands.
if the new sidewalk cafe rules require 8-foot passage, then the sidewalk and the fence were within on public property and within that 8-foot clearance, would you agree that it's probably in the best interest to follow the city laws and remove
I
the
would
fence?
have to look at what the rules are. You're telling me what the rules are, but again, all of the licenses that we applied for and we paid lots of fees, lots of money to the city over the years. There was never an issue.
Right, but that program no longer exists.
Well, I
There's a new
understand
one.
that, and that's my understanding, but I don't know the ins and outs of the new program. However, I would, since it is our property and it is really supposed to be, its best use is a restaurant. I would have to take a long, hard look at that because the history of it for 48 years was that it was operated with not a problem. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gotten the licenses.
But if you had a DCA consumer affairs license for a sidewalk cafe, presumably that sidewalk cafe was on public property then.
Those licenses, I've have records of those going back to, many years ago.
Yeah, I was just looking at them and it didn't look like they had the required clearances at that point either. For those sites.
Then why would they have granted them? Okay, well, I'm just. Well, I mean.
I would just think it's safe to assume, and I don't know if you agree, that people should follow the laws and the rules.
We
and the
follow the
regulations.
laws,
That everybody should, right?
I obviously, I mean, so that's the rules of civility. However, I'm here to tell you that I've had 48 years of experience with the Riviera Cafe, the outdoor cafes. The fact that it was vacant for many years, including COVID, and that we have a good operator currently, who is looking to succeed there and make it and has made it a beautiful new renovation and has invested time, energy, commitment, and therefore I would say that it is really important to have that outdoor cafe.
Right, but the issue is not the outdoor cafe. The issue is the metal gate or the metal fence that was installed there, okay, on the public sidewalk. And when I say installed, excuse me, when I say installed, it means it's embedded into the sidewalk, which belongs to the public, okay? It does not belong to private property or the restaurant or your property. So whether it was done 40 years ago, 45 years ago, 20 years ago, it was not done properly, okay? And so that's the issue. The issue isn't the outdoor dining, okay? And the question then becomes is two things. Were you ever involved in the installation of that?
I would have to ask my father. No, I was not. I was involved in the original restaurant being built.
My point is that you were not involved, okay? So we're talking about something after the fact, okay?
After the fact of
my next
the opening of the Riviera.
Right, but at least we have a solid foundation here as to what's really happening, okay? What we're really discussing. The second thing is, when you did interview these folks,
yes,
your tenants, were you ever made aware of their significant their convictions, their disciplinary convictions and problems that they had at the State Liquor Authority on their multiple licenses within our community board over many years? Were you aware of that?
I was not aware of what you're characterizing as many disciplinary. If they have State Liquor Authority licenses.
Were you aware of any of it?
I mean, I feel like I'm being,
I do think
I'm here
what you're saying is something different than what actually is occurring.
That's what you're characterizing.
I actually sat on this board for a long time and heard all the people come in complaining about all the different operations that they operated, okay, for over many, many years. So I had to deal with that. Okay, now I'm asking you just a simple question. Did you know about it?
I did not sit on the community board, so I did not know about it. So
that's all I want.
And I think that respectfully, I'm here to also provide you with my experience. And so I would hope that you would also treat me with some civility as well. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next. Whoever wants to come up next.
Hi, I'm Leif Arnson and
You're
representing.
speaking instead of Kathy. Are you speaking instead of
Yes,
Kathy?
instead of Kathy, yeah.
Okay.
This is what happened. Speaking to the Central Village Block Association, just briefly, we support all of the work that's been done by the West Village Residents Association on this particular application. We actually visited the building when they were doing the building as well, just to have a look. We were there a few days ago. Yes, the fence is there. It's permanent. It looks permanent. There's people inside those enclosures. Just a couple of days ago, they're having drinks out there. We took pictures of that. We see what the sidewalk really is and agree with what we've been hearing here today from the board. And so we are against this application.
Thank you. It angles down. It'll, And you can turn it also.
Okay, hi, thank you for letting me have some time to talk to you and talk about my experience.
State your name first.
Marilyn By, I'm with
Thank you.
233 West Fourth Street Tenants Association. My window overlooks West Fourth Street, and I have a very different perspective because West Fourth Street is just, it's really horrific. Just on Saturday or Sunday morning, I looked out my window at 5 a.m. I sent you pictures of their dumpster. They have overflowing garbage to the sidewalk, and I was shocked to see like 8 rats all over their dumpster. And I also provided you with a rat map, which is that if you have an infestation going on, and it's ongoing and ongoing. So I don't know how rats are a good thing, you know. And the other thing is that 231 West 4th Street, the owner in 2020, they constructed like a wooden fence, so there wouldn't be a homeless encampment. I sent you photos of that. And now it's graffiti stained, and the applicant uses it as a personal shed, as if it's an unseen, you know, rear yard. You can't see it's there. And we have graffiti stained wood, you know, sheds that look like big pens. They're at 229 West 4th Street and 231 West 4th Street. And LPC does have a violation, which I sent you, that they're supposed to remove those wooden closures. Those wooden closures are not historic, they're ugly. And so we got these ugly enclosures and this kind of junkyard. And then we have
Is that their premises?
yeah, that's they keep. Did you get my photo?
Yep.
Okay, that's their stuff. That's where their workers go, and they unlock the door as if it's a basement, but it's not a basement. You know, it's outside, and so it's really horrific and it's ugly. And then right next door, and then on 229 is the rats. And so as far as like, you know, there's something called good order. And a licensee must provide adequate service to maintain the sidewalk cafe and the adjacent street that ensures good order and cleanliness. Well, there's no cleanliness going on there because we got rats, or they have rats. But you know, the other thing is that I'm losing my track. So it's not very beautiful on West 4th Street. You know, it's a very beautiful interior. But you know, what goes on West 4th Street's terrific. And it looks like a Skid Row. I don't know if you ever walked down there. And even during the day, they have tons of like garbage on the sidewalk. You know, they have
So the primary concern here is the garbage and the.
Excuse me?
The garbage is the primary concern here?
No, I've got a lot of concerns.
Okay, can we, it's a long night, so can we?
Okay, yeah, so you just made me lose my thought.
Sorry.
Okay, anyway, the other thing is that we are now in a different era than, you know, 1969. I said we're in the era now of dining out in New York City, which is a whole different world.
I'm just gonna do one thing right now because we do have a very long night. This is not a referendum on dining out New York City. It is about this application specifically.
Okay, so can I just talk about the sidewalk cafe?
At this application, yes.
Okay, so the thing is that it's specific that the sidewalk cafe is, according to the new rules, it's supposed to be in the front of the restaurant on the ground floor. This is a bi-level, you know, space. So so according to the new rules, I'm sorry, they cannot have seating outside in front of their cellar level. And the problem is that, you know, 55 years ago, we weren't so saturated. We have wall-to-wall pretty much liquor licenses, and because of the pandemic, we have sidewalk cafes galore. So it's a very different situation it was. So, and they didn't, you know, Lily Fan of the SLA told them, you know, not to have furniture, not to have people outside, and they do have that, and they have people drinking out there. In fact, they do, what else? Oh, God, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay, I think that's good. So does that?
Oh, yeah, well, the last thing I wanted to say, this is it. So their capacity is 150, and their garbage, they can't handle the garbage they have now. They've got rat situations, so I don't know how they can handle any more garbage for any more customers, and that's where I'll end it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else here to speak on this application? That was all the sign-in sheets I had. Okay, thank you.
I know everyone's done with this application. I'll just
Yep.
quickly reference two things that were said. As far as the navigability of the sidewalks, the space has always been there. We're not changing any of the navigability of the sidewalks. You can still navigate it the same way you can last week, but you will when the sidewalk cafe is in place. As far as the rats, the operator spent $20,000 doing infestation remediation, so that should not be an issue. The wood shed that was referenced, that was a mistake by LPC for enforcing something. It was taken down. It wasn't wood, it was paneling, but that's really not an issue here. If the issue solely is the fence, we can figure out a solution to that. It seems like it's more than the fence, though, from what I'm getting.
I think there are a few issues. The one thing I'm going to say is on West 4th Street, regardless even if there were, if we did not have any issues at all with anything else, I do not see how a measurement works, even if that fence were not there, that any seating goes there. Just because it was there before and somebody stuck a fence in illegally or legally or whatever, there is no 8-foot clearance there. So to me, regardless of all the other things that you've heard, I don't see how that works. Cormac, go ahead.
Well, sorry, just to respond to Donna, we did have a surveyor come out and measure it, and those were the measurements they gave us. We will go back to the surveyor and make sure that those
I mean,
measurements are
I was
correct.
telling you myself, I walked by there and I measured from the curbside to the fence and it was 6 feet, 6 inches. I did it. Granted, I didn't have a measuring tape, but I did it 3 times and came out without an inch of the same measurement each time. So that's not close. It's not like it's 7 feet, 11 inches and we're close to 8.
So I can't speak for the committee, but to your question, I just want to speak for myself on it. Yeah, I don't know anything about what the measurements are. Obviously, it has to comply with, whatever the rules are and so forth. I came in here expecting to support this. My sole concern is that fence. And if I may say, that's not exactly true. The fence and the fact that the community thought that there was already a solution. You say that the fence could be figured out. The community thought it already was when the SLA said take down fences. And so we feel like there's a non-compliance now, plus the fence. So we feel like, for many of us, I think, we thought this was settled. Applicant didn't get it done, now comes back for more stuff and is now saying that that they may be grandfathered. It's like, what? So for me, again, I can't speak for the whole committee. It is the fence, just saying.
And I just want to point out one more thing. Carter, are you? Oh, thank you. The reports and the pictures of people drinking outside when you do not have permission, that is also, for me, that's an egregious problem.
And thank you for bringing that up. I did ask for the opposition that was submitted and pictures, and I did not receive anything from the board. I'll follow up to get pictures of that because I
Sure,
have
I
not
didn't
seen
know
that.
that you would ask for that, but yeah. And I just got to say again, I walked by and saw the same things.
Got it.
We have many pictures and you will get them, but it's
All right.
not just like one thing. Carter?
Yeah, so I spent some time and went back and listened to the liquor authority's determination on this, which number of the people who spoke here today were at also. And like Cormac, understand, look, we move forward. The decision the liquor authority made was, at that time that there wouldn't be any outdoors or conditions. It was pretty straightforward. I think, Chair Fan was fairly clear in her statements and what would happen. And now we're sort of in the gray area again. And the gray area was precisely the community board's issue from the beginning. And those are the problems at their other locations, the gray areas. In fact, the gentleman, I cannot remember his name, Mr. Emerito, or he worked in the council's office.
Mike Emerito, yeah.
He brought up a number of conditions during the meeting. Oh, these are not egregious situations. Nobody got shot. Nobody got killed. Other extreme situations, no underage service, etc. But I think that what Bob was saying, the amount of time that we spent as a board on trying to resolve these issues was the residents at their other location. I mean, we spent months and months in going over this. And, you know, to be back here again with that gray area, lack of clarity, said you remove the fence not gone. The you know, the new rules are not the old rules. And, you know, there are some places that were pre-existing sidewalk cafes. As you know, the requirements have changed. The city has implemented some new rules as far as the clear path, as far as how areas are used. And I was certainly very willing to rethink this, take what we're getting, but we're not getting an application that even I just bring that up because it's hard, because we're not actually considering a conforming sidewalk cafe with the new rules. And just to Donna's point, you know, I in looking on the submission that you made, and we reviewed a couple of sidewalk cafes, the board, that have been referred to the community board. Only 3 have been referred so far. There are obviously many, many more coming, but we've found that the measurements are not, in fact, checked by DOT. They take the measurements you submit. And so there's not a submission for that measurement. And that is the measurement that's supposed to be 8 feet. That issue alone, I think, is important to correct, you know, just going forward, because I'm not in disagreement that this space has traditionally had a sidewalk cafe. And then if one would fit, it would work. But the same situation that existed of why this board was opposed to this application, it's happening again. And I'm not so sure that's a great place to bring this back to the liquor authority to review again. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you practice up there regularly. You know, they said one thing, it's not there. That was our issue to begin with. So I just bring that up because I know you're speaking to moving that fence if that's the only issue, but that's a big start in discussing this.
Understood.
You know.
Okay, I
Thank you.
think that everybody's good up here. Okay, thank you. Okay, next application is going to be Vivamo Partners LLC, doing business as Bar V at 1012 Morton Street, the restaurant. One application. Katie will want that. And just be sure to use the microphones.
Hi, everyone. Phil Dorn and Eleanor Schotten behind me. We are attorneys with Cecchi and Bookman. Excuse me while I turn to the right page. Behind me are Veli, Valeri, and Moritz, who are the team behind Entwine, which is in your neighborhood, which just celebrated its 15th year anniversary, and are now the team behind Vivamo. They are looking to open a quiet little wine bar on Morton Street, 10 Morton to be exact. The address is 10-12 Morton. It's a small little place, 700 square feet of retail, just 31 seats plus an additional 4 at the bar top. Quiet background music only. They're asking for midnight, 7 nights a week. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is beer and wine only. When I said wine bar, I meant beer and wine. They will have no sidewalk seating, no roadhead seating, as part of the dining out program. They are looking to participate in the open street program because, Morton Street does participate in it, so they would like to be a part of it, just have, 5 tables out there. Veli lives on this block. He lives at 14 Morton Street. So he is a member of this, not only this community, but this block specifically. He knows what it's like to take care of this block. He has no interest in opening an establishment that would abuse the block or the residents thereof. I mentioned Entwine. Entwine has grown a great reputation in the neighborhood. They've had no problems, no noise complaints, no garbage complaints. So we hope that they've earned the benefit of the doubt with Entwine, and we'll receive it here tonight.
It's closed. So what were the hours outside for the open?
For the open streets, they'll close at 10:30.
Okay.
Can I just speak to that for a second, Donna?
Go ahead,
So
Carter.
the seating for open streets, I believe that they had wanted across the street. And they wouldn't be able to serve under the liquor authority's guidance because you can only serve to the 50% mark on the street. You can't serve across the street.
You can go across in the section of the law that just got passed. You can go across the bike lane and or whatever the municipal lane is and serve on. You can have an extension onto the street.
But it's only up to the 50% mark, I believe, if you read it.
Yeah, to the midline of the street.
To the midline, right.
Yeah, but
Okay.
their only tables and chairs they could have on the open street would be across the street.
Why would it not be able to be
Because
on
the
Morton Street within
emergency-
the first 50%?
Because the emergency lane is set up there, was in close because it's no parking and there's parking.
But the
across
emergency
street.
lane doesn't extend the entire 50% of the block.
I understand, but there's parking on the other side of the block and it's not blocked off. So that's number one. Number two, the street's been removed from the open streets program.
Yes, we come to you under the guise that if Morton Street is included in the 2024 Open Streets program, if it's not
It's not.
included, but
been
it's
removed.
ever changing. If it's not included, then of course, there's no open
Right,
streets there. So
what I'm saying is that the street can, have you been to the street, to Morton Street?
I've been there before, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the street in front of where they're located is no parking. You have about 10 feet, it's not a very wide street, and then you have a
Yes.
parking lane across the street. They've never prohibited parking during the open street when it was operating. And so the emergency lane has been along the front perimeter. If you go to the 50% mark, the midpoint of the block, you can't have tables and chairs before that
Right.
because you're not able to maintain the required emergency lane because there's parking on the other side of the street.
Your
It's a
point,
very
Carter,
narrow street.
Is that
So
it's 15 feet basically to the midline from the block? Is that?
15 feet from the emergency lane or from,
no, the emergency
The
lane is
curb.
15 feet. I'm not even sure
Right.
with the parking that lane is 15
Right.
feet wide to start with. This is a condition that's unique to many of our streets because it pre-exists the grid in New York.
well,
And so I just bring up these issues
I
that they
understand.
may have been operated in the past. The sponsor went out of business. And they originally had applied, they had seating that was in the parking lane on the other side. And then it was utilized improperly by Lena, who was the previous operator when they served across the street, and that was also
well,
prohibited.
that's the previous tenant.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what.
I understand the
taking over.
sponsor has not picked up on the open streets program and that Morton Street right now is not part of the 2024 plans, but we come to you just requesting that if it is, and if we can be compliant, that we be granted the permission to,
Why don't you come back for that part if it ever becomes an open street?
okay, as long as it's not in the stipulations that it cannot be a part of the open streets.
Yeah, and
That's
just, there is an operating parking garage on the block. And then for cars to legally leave the garage, they have to drive down. Milton
Understood.
Street.
Look, if there's no open streets on Morton Street, then this is a moot point. We're not gonna be we're not gonna be putting tables on an active street. The rest of what I said holds true. This is a beer and wine application closing at midnight.
Okay, and so there's no patron use of the basement?
No.
There's I was confused, but I think other people on the committee may be more familiar with this. The stairs aren't outside. It's that go downstairs. It's all in the.
That's correct, internal stairs.
Excuse me, was when I saw the flooring on the basement that talks about the wood decking and everything, but that's just what that is. Do you understand what I'm talking
Internal
about?
staircase.
You go down the stairs here to the downstairs and this all says wood decking. So I just want to make sure there's no outside. Well, my question is, there is no outside, there's no rear yard, there's no nothing going on downstairs. Okay.
Yeah.
And it then closed the rear yard. Okay. But they didn't, somebody else. And there was no patron use of
The basement.
the basement.
Correct.
The bathroom is on the ground floor and, okay. So I'm just going to raise two things. One, I'm going to question the hours and see if we can get anything earlier, like 11 o'clock, because everybody around there has 11 o'clock. The other restaurants around there do 11 and 12. And the other thing I'm going to say, because I do live near Entwine and I walk my dog frequently that way, and it's really cute.
Thank you.
People do tend to congregate out when they go outside to smoke. There are frequently in the evenings. I'm raising this because I see it often. So some plan needs to be put in place that's not happening here. However, it gets alleviated because it's a tiny, as you know, it's a tiny little street. And
I'll address the second point first. We are happy to train staff to ensure that there's no loitering, no, people aren't gathering in front of the establishment. That's easy. As far as the hours go, we've come a long way from asking for 4 a.m. and full liquor, which was at one point the norm. This is midnight for beer and wine only. This is just about as reasonable as it gets, in my opinion.
okay.
I mean-
I don't think
Yeah,
4 a.m.
we're just right. We're asking for the same hours as Lena had.
Okay.
Then has the
Just you're welcome to speak, but please use the microphone.
existing license is midnight. It's already, and now just for us is 11. Oh, midnight? Okay. No,
come down.
No, he didn't agree to it.
The existing license like that.
Oh,
All right.
no, did he agree to 11?
No.
No.
He was just
Cormac, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a slightly different thing. Just looking at your diagram, where's the kitchen?
The kitchen is downstairs, I believe. I'm just pulling up the floor plan.
So is this the area in the back with the removable freestanding shelving and electric warming oven? Is that the kitchen?
That's a portion of the basement.
Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Where
Okay,
are
so
you
that's
looking?
the kitchen and it's in the basement. People
That-
come up.
Correct.
And then this is the old Lena space, right? That was in like the tea shop. It's not the donut space.
Correct. The
Just wanna
Lena
make sure I'm
space.
talking about the right space. Okay, those were my instant questions. Anyone else?
So I'm looking at the downstairs. Is there access to the rear yard from the downstairs?
No, I mean, there might be an emergency exit, but we're not
So you
using any.
stipulate that no staff members will go out there to make noise?
Yeah, we won't be using any outdoor space.
But it says here, oh, prep area, no cooking. I see. Okay. No, I understand now.
Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is go to the public and then we'll let the committee
Sure.
follow up. So I have a number of people here from the public on this. If you, like we did last time, if you want to come up, I have Kathy, Ornson and or Leaf, Alfred Fuente. I have Kathy and Leaf, Mary Petretti, Nancy Paisley, whoever wants to speak first, just come on up and state your name so I know who I've got. But somebody please come up and speak.
Sorry. I thought that there would be people from Morton Street Block Association here. David Gruber from Carmine Street and a Block Association, and myself, Central Village Block Association.
And your name?
Sorry?
Your name?
Oh, Kathy Arnson.
Thank you.
We met with the applicant. We had a nice meeting with them. But our main concern was the open street. And I see now that's pretty much a moot point. I think Morton Street may have had other issues, but I thought that they would be here today to discuss it. Our only concern was the open street.
Okay.
But we basically go along with what Morton Street Block Association requests because they live on the blocks. So they pretty much know what's best for them.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Petretti, and I'm with Central Village Block Association with Kathy Ditto. And to just underscore that Lena did not follow the rules. They blocked the whole sidewalk with tables and chairs and service. It was annoying, and they were a bad neighbor. So we hope we'll have a better relationship with these guys. So thank you all.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Donna. And I too am here basically.
Name. Well, I mean.
Nancy Paisley,
Thank
sorry.
you.
That I'm here to support the Morton Street Block Association. And I understand their issues to be that they do object to anything on the sidewalk or in the street. And they would like to ask for an 11 o'clock closing. And I support the Block Association in that.
Thank you. Morton Street.
Morton Street. I do not.
They came to you and you relay what they said?
They came to Central Village Block Association. We all hang together.
It's a valid question. Go ahead.
My name is Alfred Fuente. As the first person that went earlier, my issue was also with the open sidewalk cafe, and given that that may not happen, it's moot. I withdraw my comments at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else here on this? Okay, and just before you go, Phil, I just going to say I have a letter from 10 Morton Street. So I'm just going to read it to you because it's a short
Sure.
paragraph and it came in late. So I'm sure you didn't. Okay. We, the undersigned tenants at 10 Morton Street, oppose Sunday, Saturday, 12 a.m. closing. We support 11 p.m. closing Sunday to Thursday, 12 a.m. closing Friday and Saturday. As you're aware, the restaurants in the surrounding area all close at 11 p.m., including Cook, the new restaurant opening on the corner of Morton and 7th Avenue. Your consideration is very much appreciated, and that's signed by apartment 1C, 6D, 6D, 1A, 3B, 2A, 2B, 5C, 4D, 5F. That's what I'm hoping.
All right.
Okay.
Just a couple quick responses to what was said. We did a lot of outreach for this, more outreach than we typically do for beer and wine applications. As you'll see in the packets I handed around, plus what was submitted to the board office, we not only received a lot of petition signatures, but we also received letters of support from residents in the building itself or on 14. We also hosted a meeting. We posted signs with QR codes and everything for everyone to join. We emailed several block associations, which you just heard, including the Morton Street Block Association, which did not respond to us. That's all I'll say about the outreach. The one last thing I'll say is that anything about the previous tenant is irrelevant to us. We are not them. And in fact, we have built a strong reputation in this community.
And do you have any paperwork that shows that the kitchen can be in the basement? Because I believe that that's storage only.
No, we don't. That's not asked of us for the CB packet.
Right, but I'm just asking because you said your kitchen is in the basement. Right? And we
Correct.
do ask in our package for a copy of certificate of occupancy or letters of no objection. There's only a letter of no objection for a restaurant on the first floor.
We will have all the city and state permits, including health department permits for both floors of the space.
Because we were told by the landlord that they would submit them the last time, that they were working on that, but it was never
Okay.
submitted.
I'll-
And that's probably because they didn't want to file an alt one.
I can't
Put the
speculate to
kitchen-
that.
Well, I'm just bringing that up because we spent considerable amount of time during the enclosure of the air shaft. And on the plans you've submitted, it actually shows tables and chairs in the lower level on your plans. And so.
No, there are no seats
Oh,
downstairs.
it does. Trust me. Let's go to it, right? You have it in front of you. I'm gonna scroll down to it. On the page, when you look at the basement diagrams, it says on the bottom right, it says new fire treated wood benches and tables. And it says new door leading to the existing opening.
Those are not customer seats.
Okay,
I'm
but
telling you that,
just-
we're stipulating to that.
But
should be the end.
you submitted the plan. We didn't.
Right, but
So. I
wood,
just,
new fire treated wood benches in an architectural plan does not indicate customer seating, and we're telling you right now that there is no patron seating downstairs.
okay, so this enclosed area is, there's no patron use of
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes.
I'll have that in the stipulation. So just to follow up on just what Carter was saying, so you know, in case you didn't know, that the condition of the license that the previous one got did say that the revalidation of existing letter of no objection dated 2009 or a new one. So there is nothing that shows that that was revalidated since 2009 or that there's a new one. So I'm letting you know that's a problem because it
Okay,
was a
we will
problem
look
then,
into
and
it.
it's still a problem now.
All right.
I mean, to your earlier point, absolutely. You cannot, and we do not hold you responsible for anything bad done by previous operators or anything like that. You got nothing to do with them. But we do want to help you avoid running into some of the same problems that they did.
Of course.
Right? So, you know, because if you open and you never correct these issues about the C of O or the LNO and the basement, kitchen, the basement, when you come up for renewal, you're going to be facing a very angry panel. So let's not have that happen.
Understood. I would just like to harp on the fact that these are established operators. This is one of the good guys in your neighborhood. This is not a new operator. This is not someone who you have to question if they're going to run a tight ship or a good place. They have proven themselves for 15 years now.
Okay, I want to go back to what Carter was talking about. Well, what are these tables and benches going to be used for if they're on the plan? It looks like it's part of your,
It won't be used for patron seating. It
So-
can be used, staff member could take a seat, but it won't be used for patron seating.
are these benches outside?
No, this is all internal within the basement.
Well, why is there a fence around it? I thought fences would be outside
It's just a room.
with a wooden fence.
You understand why I led with this question, which is why I was confused because it says wood benches, it says wood decking, and it says a wood
Yes, I
fence. So
understand.
nobody understands what's going on down there because it's all worded that way.
Right.
So I
Yes,
don't
it's-
understand
it's-
how the
it's-
fence is a wall.
I agree. It's poor wording on behalf of the architect who drew these up. I am here before you to stipulate to the fact that there will not be patrons at all in the basement floor, and it
it's
is all
internal.
internal.
It's
It's all
internal
enclosed.
part of the building.
Correct.
Whether it was done legally or
Correct.
not, that's how it stands now.
Correct.
And what about this? There's a door near the sink. Does that go into the residential hallway? I see a door into the existing corridor. Does,
At the bottom of the stairs, there, Max, is there,
It's just an exit
I
to
mean,
the
not
sidewalk
myself,
hatch,
sorry.
and it's a shared tenant hallway, I believe.
So
There will be blocked access for
it's
anyone.
blocked out. There
course.
won't be any, there'll be a fire thing or something on, if it's a
Correct.
door. Okay.
There will be no delivery service through that door.
No, no.
Okay, so
100%.
you can stipulate, and
Sure,
you-
happily.
you did read that the Block Association asked for 11 o'clock on weekdays, school days, closing. Oh, I didn't hear you respond to
If
that.
we could, if we could do 11 from Sunday to Wednesday, and we did Thursday through Saturday midnight, we would be amenable to this committee.
Thank you. Very
That's
much.
very good.
All right,
Thanks. Good luck.
just, and we will look
Your
into the
information,
kitchen.
The plans you submitted are from 2 operations ago. There are updated plans.
All right, we'll take a look. Thanks, Carter. Can we, any chance we could do my other one that's nearly identical, which is Carta?
Yeah.
Great. Tell the woman in black, don't have the baby. All right.
Okay, so if someone's here for 115 Christopher, we are not hearing that tonight. Maybe I should just run through, but we're not, 115 Christopher is laying over in order to meet with the neighbors this month. So if you're here on that application, come back next month. If they have not been in touch with you and you want to be in touch with them, please email the office and we will make sure that we get you connected so that when they are here next month, everybody has met and had their discussions outside of this room, hopefully. Okay, and Spunto also, if anybody's here for that, they laid over at the last minute.
All right, thank you. This one is a nearly identical, but I think even more reasonable application than the last one. Again, my name is Phil Dorn and Eleanor Schotten is behind me. We are attorneys with Pizetsky and Bookman. Behind me are Marcella, George, and Rebecca, owners of Carta Wine Bar. They are seeking a beer and wine license at 35 Bedford Street. The team behind me is looking to open a quiet wine bar on Bedford. The idea is what they call the third room. The first room being your home, the second room being your workplace, and the third room being Carta. It's a place that is a safe space for community members, a place for community building and a sense of belonging. It's a place where you can go read a book, a place where you can go do some work after hours, a place where you can catch up with a friend or go on a date. It is very quiet and very warm and welcome to everyone in the community. There will be wine education classes, wine tastings, really a place for the community to gather and have a sense of belonging. I think cozy is a good word. The team brings a ton of experience to the table. George runs the food and beverage for Google on the East Coast, for all of Google. Rebecca is the vice president of fine wines for a big wine importer. And Demetrius, who's not here today, but he is the fourth principal. He's the beverage director for a well-known restaurant group here in the city that has a restaurant in Hudson Yards as well as Midtown.
Could you give us the name of that?
Estiatoria Milos. Wonderful Greek food, high end. The proposed occupancy of this space is just 30 people. It is very small, just 5 tables with 12 seats, plus an additional 12 seats at the bar. So 24 seats total. It's very, 24. 30 is the occupancy, 24 is the number of seats plus staff, et cetera. As I mentioned, quiet recorded music only. And speaking of music, what should be music to your ears is that there is no outdoor space whatsoever, no sidewalk or roadbed dining. They are asking.
Now or ever, no outdoor space.
You will agree that it is now, and if it were to be in the future, we would come back before you. And they are asking for 11 p.m. during the week and midnight, which was just approved just a moment ago. So we hope that you guys are equally as happy about that. They also did a ton of outreach, but I don't even think I need to speak on that. I'm happy to if you'd like me to.
Before we go to Dr. Smith and then to Cormac, how many private events are you think private parties or the wine taste, the wine classes, are you doing them on a regular basis? Talk just a tiny bit more about that, because that will bring potentially 20 people at one time in there, which is a disturbance to the neighborhood instead of one or two people coming in and out on this little residential block. That is licenses.
The wine tastings may very well not be closed off to the public or private events. So I wouldn't even necessarily include those. Sometimes maybe they will, but sometimes it might just be when you go into the restaurant, there's someone there who's educating people on the wine. As far as when there actually will be private events, it will be no more than 3 times a month. And you know, with 24 seats, that's
okay. Dr. Smith?
I noticed on your floor plan, right near the, can you hear me?
Oh, you need to really put it right up to you.
Thanks. The floor plan, I'm just noticing where you have the entrance, you have a step and a seat, and by the window seat, what kind of windows are there?
yeah, they plan on
see.
installing a ramp to be ADA compliant.
This window open.
I'm sorry?
Are there any operable doors or windows?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you talked about the step.
window.
Operable windows?
No.
No operable windows.
Katie?
Obviously, you need to, we'll have to provide you better contact information for the Downing Street Block Association, since Libby now lives in Providence. So she didn't answer you. And did you contact the Carmine Street Block Association, which is here tonight?
I know we reached out to a lot of them. Let's see if we reached out to Sean Sweeney, to the Bedford Barrow Commerce Block Association and the Bedford Downing Street.
Okay, well, that answers my question.
And Augustine as well.
Okay. And where is your C of O?
The C of O is pending.
Aha.
The certificate of occupancy.
So this building was built before certificates of occupancy were granted. So we have a letter that a letter of no objection for that.
You received that, or that's pending?
The letter of no objection, our lawyers have that. So different lawyers, apologies, or
So if you have that, it would be good for us to have that.
of
So
course, we'll share that with you.
thank you. Cormac, did you have some?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, I got it right. This is the psychic shop?
Correct.
Previously, yeah. And, so, and I'm sorry, you probably went over this. Have any of you run a place in our district and things before?
Well, Demetrius, who could not be here tonight because he is currently running the food and beverage at a restaurant in the city. He is the food and beverage director for that restaurant group.
Okay.
And
The reason I'm asking is I just want to be clear. I saw that you just gonna have Sonos speakers and an iPod and things for music. Just want to make sure that they understood what background music means to us. Nobody, and it'll say as if nobody upstairs can hear anything. People might hear as they're walking by your door on the street, but people on the second floor across the way aren't going to be listening to your music program. That's what it means to us. Okay, just to be.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I have two comments to that. One is that we are installing soundproofing, and two, as I prefaced my whole spiel with, this is a place for people to go read a book, to go get some work done. It's not going to be a loud establishment.
I hear you. I just, people have different perceptions.
Absolutely.
So
Rebecca also lives right around the corner. She, as you can see, will soon have a new resident on the block as well. And it will be a quiet establishment for her and her children.
Just following up on what Dr. Smith said earlier, in terms of the windows, would you folks agree not to install operable windows at this location? Yeah, because that's the big issue with the block.
It's something that they don't have immediate plans to have, but they are considering it for the future. That's not something they would like to stipulate to at this.
I'm sorry, they are or they are not?
They are. It's been brainstormed for the future. There's no immediate plan to do it, but ideally, we're not stipulating to no operable windows.
That's the one issue with the block association, that if you notice, there's not a single location on the entire block that has operable windows. So
is the block association here?
We're very familiar with the block association, the fact that they're not here, they are here. So I'm just saying, I mean, if you want to test it, that's fine, but I'm just telling you.
All right, we're happy. Can we stipulate to no operable windows, and if we so choose, we'll come back for you?
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if my comment was heard, but can we stipulate? This is a non-conforming use here because this is a residential only district. This is one of the last non-nighttime uses, and you're now changing the use to the residential neighborhood. This is something that the residents have been in total opposition of, because the entire stretch of Bedford, this is one of the last places, is now all entertainment in a residential zone. It's not something that we've voted against regularly. It is not something that's welcome by the community, because you're activating this in the period where your baby is not going to be able to sleep. And that's the issue that we've traditionally had on Bedford Street. This is supposed to be where people live. This was laid out and planned that way. This is a non-conforming use that had daytime uses historically through time. This is the problem that we have in our community with oversaturation of licenses. It's why you will probably never be able to get a full liquor license. And this is supposed to be a quiet street. And it's not. So, and I'm just saying that that's what we've heard over and over from the residents, is to the point that they won't even come anymore because they're so disappointed in this change. And I mean, there's some, but not actually. The head of the block association will not participate anymore in even these discussions, because we're not in a position to really say no either, because of the laws that is they exist. But this is not where these types of businesses are supposed to exist. I'll say that. Thank you. Heard.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the public because we do have people from the public here. Marianne Pizza, Nancy Paisley, Kathy Orleaf, Arnton, David Gruber.
Hi, I'm Marianne Pizza, and I represented Bedford Downing Block Association. I could be the point of contact since Livy has moved to Rhode Island. You guys made very valid points. It's a residential block. I lived on Bedford Street just short of 34 years. One by one. The difference is this is another unlicensed storefront. And one by one, we've lost these mom and pops to restaurants. This place in particular is a wine bar first, and that serves tapas food, I believe. The other places are restaurants that serve alcohol. To Carter's point, and I think Donna, someone else said it, all the prior places that became restaurants we've always asked them to have inoperable windows and double paned windows. Those windows, and they've all complied, those windows should never be able to be opened at any point in time, and they should be double paned. I mean, I would normally outright oppose an unlicensed premise to get a beer and wine license, but if they're considering the stipulations that they would do an inoperable windows, double pane windows, not have an outside bedding, outside seating of any kind now or in the future, no benches where people could, I don't know if they're going to plan on taking reservations or it's going to be, you know, people waiting outside to get in. We don't have the room or the space, people to wait in line to, you know, for a place that may or may not take reservations. I don't know. Their hours seem reasonable, midnight on Friday and Saturday, and 11 and 10 on Sunday, I think it was. But that's the thing, the windows, double pane windows, no outside seating, no outside, no benches. If the occupancy is 30, does that mean people that seat 24, then there's 6 people that can hang out, stand at the bar, or does that include like staff? I don't know.
No, it included staff. They said it
So
was
they can't have
24,
people
everybody's
standing at the
seated,
bar.
everybody's seated and then staff.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my main things. The windows, the doors should remain closed at all times, except when people come and go.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next.
Hello, Kathy Arnson, Central Village Block Association. I just want to agree with everything that Mary Ann just said. I'm not going to repeat.
Okay.
I just agree with it all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm David Gerber. I'm president of the Carmine Street Block Association. And it was a very interesting scenario, this third room concept, which I had not heard before. And I think the intentions are there, but oftentimes when we apply for a license, it doesn't really work. Doesn't go. It's an echo chamber. So, I'm supporting the reach out to the Carmine Street Block Association, which is about 100 feet from the restaurant. And we're a large major block association in the village. We can those. So installation installing that. I think that I need to hear Screen say we have applicable windows. End of story. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy Paisley. Again, I agree with what my colleagues have said. It's discouraging to see Bedford turn it from mom and pop stores that serve the neighborhood into nothing but licensed premises. But given that, I support the requests on the windows and the hours and the doors. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there, I just want to check, is there anybody else here on this? I don't have any more cards. Okay, Phil, go ahead.
Thank you. It sounds like we're on the same page with the hours. It's just the operable windows. We agree to not have operable windows.
Okay, is there the double pane? What happens with the double pane? Are they double pane windows? I don't know. No, it's okay. All right. Okay, so there's no operable windows.
Yeah, it's Marcella raises a good point that it's a landmarks
It's a
building,
landmark,
so.
Okay, and so the hours, just to be clear, it's 10 o'clock Sunday, 11 o'clock Tuesday to Thursday, and 12 o'clock. Is that, am I
No, it's
wrong?
just 11 o'clock during the week and midnight on the weekends.
I'm just, that's not what's written down. It says 4 to 10 on Sunday.
It's
closed
what's in the
Sunday.
packet. Sorry, I must be confused. Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. 10
Is
o'clock.
that
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Closed on Mondays, I mean, and then
Yeah.
just 4 to 11, I'll just make it 4 to 11 Monday through Thursday, and then midnight.
Midnight Friday,
that-
Saturday.
And Donna, what about the request for no bench
No bench outside. No, but there will be no seating, no benches, no anything outside.
Correct.
And the private events, what did you say again about that?
We said three. It's not going to be
Can we
three.
say like 12 a year or 24 a year?
Well,
Can we?
30, can we call it 30? Can we? Okay, so
Okay.
24 a year.
24 a year. And will be education, primarily education oriented.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you're gonna be there, Donna.
After the gyrotronic, right?
She's a great teacher. She's a great teacher.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. The next application is going to be Airmail 546 Hudson Street, doing business as Airmail. It's a new tavern wine.
Good evening, committee. My name is Benjamin Corngut. I'm the attorney for Airmail 546 Hudson LLC. This is an application for a tavern wine license at 546 Hudson Street. I have with me tonight Anjali Lewis and Bill
But just
Keenan,
make sure you come.
who are both, Bill is a part owner and Anjali is the general manager of Airmail's retail stores globally. The premises is
Just, I don't have.
Anjali
Usually,
Lewis.
okay, thank you.
The premises is small. There are 8 seats inside, 12 in the rear yard. There's going to be no presence on the sidewalk, no sidewalk cafe or roadbed seating. They will close at 7 p.m. every night. They've been open, operating as a cafe since the beginning of April. The response they've received from the community has been extremely positive. Most of the signatures that we've gathered were from people that were coming into the store over the last 2 months. And as they operate as a cafe and a coffee shop, it's all people that live close by in the area. I'll let the principals talk a little bit more about the store because it's really a unique concept, but generally speaking, the nuts and bolts of it is it's a cafe and a newsstand. They serve coffee, pastries, and sandwiches. And then the main business is a curated selection of goods. It's affiliated with Airmail, which is a newsletter. And this is kind of the brick and mortar physical representation of that digital newsletter. I'll turn it over to Anjali and Bill, who can tell you a little bit more about the project.
Okay, great.
Hello. So as Ben said, Airmail, the shop opened on April 3rd. We call ourselves a newsstand, but it is front. You walk in and there's a curated collection of magazines, but really the store is a retail space. We curate everything from the most amazing pencils to a vintage watch. And if it's something that you want to buy for yourself or something that you want to buy as a gift, we're the place to do it. We have a small cafe inside that is serving coffee, tea, and pastries, sandwiches. We'd like to be able to have.
Guys in the back, can we take this conversation outside, please? Thank you.
We would like to have a tavern license because as our customers come in and they get coffee later in the afternoon, there is a desire to have something a little bit more, and we'd like to be able to accommodate them for that. Most of the people that come in are coming in to meet their friends. They're coming in to do a little bit of work. We also have community residents who have come and asked us to reserve our library table in the back of the shop to be able to hold book club meetings. So it's just a wonderful, lovely little shop that we hope to be there for a very long time, and spent a lot of time and thought to create a very warm and welcoming space.
Yes. Hello. The only thing I would add is that
the primary business is selling merchandise. This is just something supplementary that we think we've heard from the community. This is something they think they could use and it would be nice to have sort of on the side. But we are not a restaurant. We are not a bar. We are trying to move product.
And there's no, is there any patron use downstairs?
No.
And there, what about bathroom? Where is the
The
bathroom?
bathroom is in the basement.
So patrons to use the bathroom
Yes.
can go down for that, but so that's the patron use of downstairs aside from that. So I'm going to raise the question that I think everybody will raise is there's not a certificate of occupancy. There's nothing that shows you can use the rear yard. And we have a very long-standing commitment here of not permitting use of a rear yard if we don't see that it's possible to use it because of the egress concerns with that.
Even for an occupancy under,
It doesn't,
so obviously the building, I'm sure you know, the building is still under construction. So there is no certificate of occupancy for the building yet, which we've been assured that it's coming. They have passed landmarks so far for the facade of the building. I will,
Look, I'm looking in the DOB now, there's an alt 2, which is just doing some changes, but there is an existing certificate of occupancy for the building. And it is from 1972. And so this is correct, this is 546 Hudson Street. Yeah, so there is a certificate of occupancy and the ground floor is a retail leather store. And it has no indication that a rear yard use is allowed.
So our understanding, and when we signed the lease to the space, it was completely derelict. The building had been not abandoned because it's owned by somebody, but derelict for several decades, to the point where when we were building out, community members would approach us and become first excited that something was going to open. And then when they heard more about what was going to open, became even more excited. The building was a complete rehab. So when you walked into that ground floor retail space, you could see holes in the floor. You could see holes up down the ceiling, and they have done everything from top to bottom. There's only one resident, to my understanding, right now in the apartments, and that's the top floor. In terms of a certificate of occupancy, my understanding from our expediters, our landlord, also the developers and landlord, is that it is not complete. So their certificate is not yet been granted, but we were able to open downstairs on April 3rd.
So we have at this community board level on Hudson Street, not just Hudson Street, but throughout the community board, we've never seen a certificate of occupancy that allows for rear yard for eating and drinking purposes, unless there's a second means of egress. Usually there's a side to another street or something of that sort. We've never seen a letter of no objection allowed for this. And so, there's egress issues. You've got one door to the rear yard. That's all there is. Okay. You may have it down to the basement. You may have it to the first floor, but people will have to all go through the same door. So typically the Department of Buildings will issue a letter of no objection that allows for eating and drinking, not just on the interior, but on the exterior. So that's going to be an issue on this location, not just for you, but for anyone else.
So
Okay.
can I ask a question? Because we do have a table inside that we call the library table with 8 seats. Is there an opportunity for us to receive a tavern license to be able to serve wine on the?
Right. The whole idea here is to take out the backyard. Okay. And just if there's going to be eating and drinking, that it be done inside. Okay. Because ultimately we don't know, you're going to have to get, the liquor authority is going to require you to get a certificate of occupancy that allows that, but they give you a little bit of time to do that. But the backyard, I've never seen a permit that allows that.
there are two means of egress. I think there's If you look at the pictures, there's a staircase up to the first floor and one down to the.
But we're not in buildings, and so I've seen it all different ways. So in other words, there has to be another means of egress, not through the building. It's gonna be another means of egress to another building. It has an adjoining backyard that's, I've seen that before. But even that's screwy and you have to have something from the Department of Buildings that allows it. You have to.
And it's an alt 2 that's been filed, not an alt 1. And an alt 1 is changed through certificate of occupancy, but there is an existing certificate of occupancy.
Which allows for a store.
On the interior of the ground floor.
Okay.
It's a retail leather store, which is, it's used group 6, but there's no mention of the exterior, use to the exterior area. That's on there. In fact, I mean, and before this was issued, the rear of your space was an apartment. It actually wasn't even only the front portion of the building was the store.
Were you going to remove the rear yard for now? And then
I think we have to have a more detailed discussion with the architect and really find out what's going on with the rear yard before. We have been told that the entire premises will be legal, so I don't know exactly what he's filed. So I think we'd prefer to have a conversation with him, really drill down on what's going on with the permits and the filing. I mean, we know the inside is.
And then, so are you asking to lay this over to do that?
yeah.
And then, okay, so I have people here from the public. Let me go to the public first, so, because they're here, and then, okay. Nancy Paisley?
Thank you, Donna. I'll try not to repeat what other people have said or what I said before. I just hate to have every single small space in the neighborhood turn out to be licensed premises. I feel like Sisyphus on this one, so I don't have to repeat it. The two things they say, the bathroom is in the basement. I'm assuming that's not going to be ADA accessible because it's down the stairs. And the rear yard is where I have real problems. I understand the safety aspect of it, but the problem for the neighbors is the noise. And we've had this over and over. Without the rear yard, I would not have strong objections, just the usual one. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. There's nobody else here on this. Cormac.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give you some advice. So if you do, if you go and you check this out, if, I know it's a big if from here or whatever, you get some sort of authorization to use the yard. So when you come back to us or whatever is going to happen here, just so you know, we're going to want to know that you reached out to everybody whose windows look out onto that yard or on that donut, right? Because this is not 40 years ago, right? So people work from their homes. So people have strange hours in which they sleep during the day. If they have back rooms that are on a quiet, empty residential donut, and now there's going to be this underneath it, right? That's going to be an impact. And so we're going to need to know that you reached out and let them know this was happening, and that, so that they have the opportunity. Just want to say that.
Understood.
I think that's it. So
Yeah, we'll
you'll
see.
email us and say you're laying it out so the office knows you won't
Correct.
move forward at the liquor authority
Correct.
until you come back to us.
Yes.
And yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, the next application is going to be Sula Luna, New York LLC at 4143 Carmine. This is an on-premise for a restaurant.
Good evening.
You gotta, everybody's, yeah, speak up.
I got it.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Robert Romano. I excuse the outfit. I am an attorney. I just didn't have
Fine.
access to my suit tonight.
You're here. That's what counts.
Thank you. I'm here with Lorenzo Tonella, Francesca Rizzi, his mother, and Lorenzo is the principal. We presented this to you at the last meeting. I don't think there's a need to go through anything except what was the quote unquote problem that was discussed at the last meeting. And that was the certificate of occupancy and the use of the basement. Mr. Tonello has, after much discussion, calculations of whether or not he could still pay the rent. He will stipulate that he will not have patron use of the basement with the exception of using the bathrooms, which we have to do. We have no choice. Without that, we're dead. If you have any questions about the use of the space, which is, I think, fantastic. It's a beautiful Italian, Venetian bookstore that they're really bringing from Venice to here. Hours would be 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily, no yard, no open windows. Music would be kept at low levels, obviously, because it's also a bookstore, an art store, a community-oriented store. So if you have any questions, if you would like to, would you like to say anything about the store?
Yeah. Hello, my name is Francesca. We live in Venice. We opened a little bookstore and bistro in Venice 6 years ago, and we survived over the COVID years. And now the bistro is becoming a place where a community meets, also from university, from college. And we want to create, coming here to New York, we want to create connections between Italian illustrator. Our passion is illustrated books. So we want to create a connection between Italian design and illustration world to the one that is very rich and interesting in New York. And also we have friends in California that want to come here to illustrators, designers. So to survive in this field, like in Venice, we like to propose also, to offer also to our customers a glass of wine, a coffee, a nice thing to eat, because this is something that connects people and is much easier to run a bookshop in this era, in this way. So when we came here in the West Village and we saw the unoppressive, non-imperialist bookstore that was going to close just in front of the place we liked and that was available, we were like excited of bringing books back in that street. I study literature and philosophy, and I'm very passionate of illustration. My relatives are all art historian in Venice. So sorry for my English. I'm also a little.
You're doing fine.
It's a little difficult for me, but what we would. You know, it's like a dream to create connections. And because in Venice, we have a lot of customers coming from New York City and California mainly. And we are very excited to find a independent bookstore, so different from all the, you know, the brands that are franchising or all the same or equal everywhere you go. Our is a real independent business, very small, but very with nice ideas. We want to bring new ideas and fresh ideas. And my son is very good in managing, because me and my husband are more dreamer, you know, I'm more constructing projects, but he's good in also in making them work and make them more, see, I want to say another thing. sorry. We were selected in Venice by the University Ca' Foscari and the Foundation of Venice as one of the nice family-owned business that makes the difference culturally in the city, because we bring something that is completely authentic, and is something different from all the others. So this is something we really believe, to bring your own vision and to be an independent bookshop means that you are completely free to choose the book you like, the people you like to offer to your customers. And we want to create events. For example, we know in here, like Enchanted Lions and other small independent editors, they publish Italian illustrator and Italian writers. So what we want to do is to bring, to sell Italian books with Italian illustrator, but also English translation of the Italian books, so that the culture can be connected. And we also choose this neighborhood because, in Carmine, there is a Pompeii church. We met the priest, Don Luigi. Don Luigi is doing a very good job creating a very alive church. I was astonished to see how many people go there every Sunday, because he's like a very young and innovative, I don't know, is really bringing a community together. So, and there are a lot of Italian schools in the area. So we want to also offer Italian language books to all these people and create connection also with those. I met the consular, in the consulate in Park Avenue. The consular wanted to meet us, my husband, me, and Fulgi and Lorenzo. And he said he's very happy to this, and he wants also to he offer us to make some exhibition of Italian illustrator in Park Avenue. There is nice rooms that they have for events. And also I'm in contact with the Casa Italiana De Rilli here in the village, is part of the university. Also, we know some teachers like Antonio Monda that teaches cinema and movie history, Italian history. So this is the kind of connection we want to create, a connecting two islands, Venice and Manhattan. And this is something that sounds very nice for us, to us.
Thank you. And thank you for coming. Okay, so just remind me why this is an on-premise license. It's a
Yes.
full liquor.
Yes.
So
I will tell you, one of the first questions I asked Lorenzo when I started, said, why do you need full liquor? And I assume that's what you are going.
exactly.
And Campari.
Okay. Okay. All right. Then my next. Okay. So my next question: there's no live music. Is there live music? Live.
Have acoustic, not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He was hoping to have very occasionally, maybe have an acoustic singer, but the volume would be. It's a bookstore.
Once a month.
Maybe.
I mean, it could be less than. I'm just trying to be able to not more than once a month.
One a month. I think that is enough. No more.
And acoustic just means
Acústico classic.
No amplified, no brass, no percussion, no portable speakers.
No, not at all.
Okay. And then okay. So the seating, I don't have any, the numbers don't make any sense to me.
The numbers change now to 8 tables, 30 seats, 10 at the bar. Am I correct? And a total capacity of 45 now. It's been brought down substantially.
Well, that's 40 seats total. If there's 8 tables,
total
30
capacity, so of the premise.
is 45. Okay. Okay, that makes more sense. And then the last thing I think I have is you have the sidewalk seating. Is
The,
it?
We'd like to do just in front.
So I'm just first, the plan doesn't show me anything to really go by, but I mean, I don't see any, the sidewalk width or anything. If you have sidewalk seating, because you apply for that, would you agree to close it at 10 o'clock?
Right, oh, yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to say, so you know this, you have to have a 10-foot clear space on this sidewalk.
Right.
I don't know how you're gonna fit, just in case this is part of the business model, I'm just raising this all now. I don't know how 5 tables are gonna fit because you need 5 feet from the residential entryway that's right next door. And,
I'm discussing this with him. I have a feeling it's gonna end up being 2 small tables with 2 seats in each. table.
exactly, that's what I think too. Okay, that's it for me. Does anybody from the committee have anything?
So the street shed is going to be dismantled?
Get rid of the street shed. We talked to David.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And so
no,
you're gonna keep the posts and the little lean-to roof?
no,
That's going too?
the metal one talking about, the metal one with
Yeah.
like, no, no,
So you're gonna replace it with an awning
me-
or anything? any-
with a little tent in
Umbrella? An umbrella?
And it might say Campari.
Okay, and then finally, the bathrooms. It looks like you have 2 bathrooms in the basement?
Yeah.
Are those existing?
Yes, you have, they're renovating them, but basically they're there. They're cleaning up the walls and putting in a new fixture where there is one there now, replacing it, putting in new.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because the law says that for a liquor license establishment, you have to have a accessible bathroom on the same level as your service. And so,
Actually, it doesn't have to be on the same level as your service as long as it's within the licensed premise. So we will have to technically license the entire premise. But the basement, we would be used just for the
No.
bathrooms.
there's a ADA law for accessibility and
Oh, you had mentioned SLA, that's why.
yeah, so maybe they're giving you a pass, but it's very unfortunate that no one that needs access is going to be able to use your establishment.
I have members from the public here, so I'm gonna go to them. Claude Seligman. And David Gruber. Go ahead.
Again, I'm David Gerber, president of the Carmine Street, Block Association. Many people have come to me about this application on Carmine Street. We'd like to have it here. I know they've run into some technical and regulatory problems. If we could get through that, and we would welcome them as a neighbor. It would be, I think, unique to have a store and a small cocktail or wine bar go with it. I've met with them several times, spoken to members of the county board several times. We're very much in favor of this establishment being granted a license. They would go to early closing hours showed at all. They don't like it, we don't like it, so we're all on the same page. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hang on one second. Dr. Smith, do you have a question for Mr. Gruber? Oh, then wait. Okay, thank you. Okay, so hang on. Okay, Claude Seligman, come on up to the microphone.
Hi, I'm Claude Seligman and I live at 41 Carmine Street.
Okay, and just make sure the microphone or just, yeah,
Claude
thank you.
Seligman. Okay, 41 Carmine Street. And I have a question. I don't quite understand. Is this an application for a liquor license?
Yes.
Okay, I'm concerned. It's confusing. The liquor license, the application lists 2 addresses, 41 and 43 Carmine Street. Will that be one license for both premises?
It's not two premises, it's one premise, but the building number is 4143.
There are two separate buildings, 41 Carmine Street and 43 Carmine Street, with separate entrances.
Hang on one second. I think there's separate residential, but the building, in terms of the block, it's one storefront.
They've connected the buildings.
Right,
Correct.
but this is just one storefront.
In two buildings.
It was where the Blossom, go ahead.
The liquor authority has this address assigned to this storefront, okay? So they're gonna apply for this address assigned to this storefront, okay? It's not a new storefront, it's existed for a while. So that's why the address is what it is. So if it's not exactly perfect, it is assigned to that storefront. No one's saying, yeah, no one's saying you're in, yeah.
Yeah.
If you'd like, I can address that. As you mentioned, the previous tenant for 15 years used 4143. The lease that he had received says 4143. If we were to put 41 on the application, it would raise bells and delay the application for clerical reasons, really. So
That's what I'm trying to explain to you, okay? Blossom space. What was used to be Blossom is going to be this space.
And after that, we've had a number of restaurants at that location. Those
Correct.
two locations that are joined as one on the ground floor.
That's correct. It's
So
Blossom.
my concern is I live over in 41 Carmine, one flight up, and I don't know if I'm going to be living over a bar or a restaurant, which presently underneath me is an office for the landlord. And then on the other side of the staircase, it's still 41. There's a central staircase. It's still 41.
Is Blossom underneath you?
Blossom is long gone.
No. It was the Blossom location underneath you.
Right, it was not.
No, I'm asking you whether the Blossom. Okay, no problem. I'll be louder. Blossom was a restaurant that was fairly loud. We know about Blossom. Did you live above Blossom? So you're not going to live above this particular restaurant. Right, but not above it. So it's the same location as before.
You understand what he said? So it looks like you were probably to the east of Blossom, or it's not changing. This is going into where the Blossom space was. So if you were not right above Blossom, you will not be right above this.
Okay, that's my concern, is that I'll be living now
Right.
over a bar.
No change.
Okay.
And
That answers it.
they are going to be primarily a bookshop.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
might be a nice, it might be a nice addition to the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
it sounds
Yeah.
good.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Mr. Fuente.
My name is Alfred Fuente. I'm withdrawing my comments on, with the understanding that their sidewalk shed, excuse me, that the sidewalk shed will be, disassembled. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think, anybody else here from public on this? I don't think so. Go right ahead. Oh, Dr. Smith, you go right ahead.
Thank you. You know, the vegan and organic food looks great, but I don't see any price points in this.
No, yeah.
Not in this handout that they get.
Yeah, the place will be moderate to expensive. It depends on what you choose, because I want to have. Yeah. This is the menu in our store in Venice. We're trying to do something similar, but yeah, I'm talking with furniture and.
Oh, in our drive, there's menus, selection of 4 cheese croutons, $25. Sweet onion with ricotta honey and mixed seeds, $8. Truffle gorgonzola and pears, $9. wood fire panino with cheese, aubergine and balsamic, $23. Italian cheese tasting with honey, 45. Okay,
Saying that this is what you had in Venice.
Yes.
That was my.
Oh, thank you.
okay. Does anybody else from the committee have anything? Okay, I think we're done. Thank you so much for working this out. We will get you a stipulation agreement finally, and yes,
I did the question.
Microphone.
I did the questionnaire because timing to get his
yes, I
application.
know.
And I specifically said we would abide by all stipulations with this community.
Okay,
So
so
it's
we will
on the
get,
record.
so if we can get that, I'll try to get that to you tomorrow. and If we can just get that signed and what, I mean, by next week. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you.
Okay, finally. Okay, the next application is going to be Dalla exclusive 202 West 14th Street.
Good evening, everybody in the communities. So my name is Layton Vignola. I'm the owner of the restaurant named Dalla, running under the name Dalla Exclusive. Today I'm bringing my general manager and also my bar manager to answer your question. So we offering an upscale Thai restaurant pairing with the craft cocktail to go with the food. And also our chef have about 30-year experience in Thai food in New York. But we aiming to be the first Thai restaurant for the Michelin star and not offering street cooking, Thai cooking food. We're looking for the upscale, quiet dining experience. And the restaurant will be no live music, no DJ, no outside seating, no backyard, no TV, just the background music with probably 5 to 6 speakers for the low volume that can reach every table in the restaurant. And we're planning to put the soundproof material. Also, the restroom we have is ADA access. Also, we're willing to put the ramp for the entrance too. And yeah.
Okay, and there are no patrons in the basement. Or
No, yeah,
No.
just going to be the storage and office.
okay, so I think the previous occupant had hours that were 12 and 1 and 2 o'clock Friday and Saturday. Is that something you, instead, you have down 2 o'clock 7 days a week, which could you go down to 12? One.
So yeah, the reason we doing 2 o'clock is we see the different schedule of the neighborhood that we saw the hospital people that might have like different schedule than like regular 9 to 5 people, but we very open to like do earlier than that to midnight on the weekend, or maybe like even 1 midnight or down to like 11 p.m. on the weekday also, if you think
Yeah,
it's bad.
yeah, I'm thinking 12 Sunday through Wednesday, 1 o'clock on Thursday and 2 o'clock on Friday and Saturday. Is
I
that
think that will be beautiful.
okay? And then you close the doors. It has operable doors on it, right? Those doors open?
So the door is the French door,
Right.
and we don't have plan to open the door.
You're
just
not gonna open them,
close
because I
all
was
the
going
time.
to say close them at 10, but you're not planning to open them at all. Okay, even better. And I think, and there's no outside seating.
No.
Okay, that does it for me. Anybody from the committee? Katie?
Can the staff access the rear yard? Is there a door from your establishment into a rear yard? A backyard? In the back? is there a door in the back?
Yeah, we have the door to the yard.
But do not want anyone going there, not even the staff.
Yeah,
We
but
don't
no one going to go to the backyard.
Okay,
It's
so-
just for the compressor and the hood, and that's it.
Okay, so that'll be, we'll write that in, so it's clear.
Yeah.
And, but I saw on your and Carter, please jump in. I saw on your certificate of occupancy, there's supposed to be an apartment on the first floor. So I'm confused about what's going on here. I can't hear you, Carter.
Been a restaurant before, let me just say.
I don't think it was this location.
Right, it's the basement. It's the basement. Okay, I think, I think that does it, right? Right. Okay, so just so you know, because you're new in front of us, when we say the closing time, we mean that all patrons are out by that time. And then we'll send you a stipulation form. Basically, I don't have one of, it says that the hours that the doors will be closed, that you won't have the live music, the method of operation, and that's it. So the office will send that to you. You can sign and send it back in. Okay? Okay, thank you. Good luck with your star. Next application is by Bow West Village. 107 Greenwich Avenue, on premise for a tavern. Some people at this table will want some. There was nobody here. I didn't have a speaker card on the last application, but I forgot to ask, and I don't. On the last one you want to speak on? No. One, Nancy? This one? Okay, yes.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
My name is Dan. I'm with Sushi by Boo. We are,
Let me ask you one question, since your name isn't on what I'm looking at. So what is your last name and how are you related to this?
Zelkowitz is the last name.
Okay,
I'm the COO of the company.
okay.
COO.
Chief Operating Officer. Okay,
We have about 25 locations across the country. We have 4 currently in Manhattan and then several immediately outside of Manhattan as well. Our omakase bar is focused on sushi omakase with the chef, seating only 12 guests at a time at the sushi bar, and then lounge space to accommodate people who are waiting for their omakase or who have finished their omakase. 95+% of our patrons are via reservation. And you know, the lounge space is really to help keep anybody from spilling out onto the street all at once, but to instead limit it to more of a trickle. The cocktail bar is set up at the same bar as the sushi bar. Typically, there won't be seats at the cocktail area at all. There will only be seats for the patrons at the sushi bar itself. We're looking for a 11 p.m. during the week. I'm sorry, midnight during the week and 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. We will be taking our last reservations on Friday and Saturday at 11 p.m. The intention of the 1 a.m. license is, again, so that we don't have a mass exodus of people out of the restaurant all at one time. We're not looking for any outdoor space.
We are a little bit subterranean, so we're looking to contain our guests during that time so that there's a slower trickle instead of large groups coming out all at once.
Okay, so so the sushi bar is what is not the curved bar on the diagram?
It is the curved bar.
It is the curved bar on the
Correct, yes.
diagram that says bar. That's the sushi bar.
That's the sushi bar.
And then the other bar is,
The other bar, I'm saying opposite it,
right,
that's not a bar, that's more of a ledge. So
bench,
again,
okay.
sort of like waiting area for people to sit before or.
and then they'll be standing too. So they'll be sitting on the bench with their drinks.
Yeah, they'll be basically, those are, seats and areas for them to sit before or after their omakase. The same applies for the area that's just in front of the bar toward the entrance to the space with the little
Okay.
couch, as well as with the downstairs area that has a little couch area as well.
Okay, and then the downstairs has, how many seats are downstairs?
I think it's only 3 seats at a ledge and then a small couch.
And then there's a pool table, is that correct?
Yeah, it's more of a decor piece. Obviously guests would be able to use it if they so chose. But it's that downstairs space, we didn't need that additional room for a prep and kitchen and storage area. So it's really meant as like an amenity. It's not pool for a charge or anything of that nature.
Okay, but people will be, that's more like a lounge area downstairs.
yes.
But the music is background, it's not.
The music is ambient only.
Okay, and then the circles that are downstairs, what are those?
The circles that are downstairs are chairs at a ledge.
Okay, no, across from the, against the wall.
Oh.
In the cellar, against the wall.
Oh, those are mechanicals.
Okay.
That's.
And then, so then my big question is going to be about the certificate of occupancy. So this,
Which is in process.
so right now, it's a use group 4 and a nothing in the cellar. So I'm not sure how we even handle that.
Got it.
Without having any certificate of occupancy that shows this kind of use there.
Yeah, I think that's all in process with Department of Buildings, and we're in communication with our expediter and architect about that.
So we don't know if you're going to be able to get that, have the cellar.
Right, as far as that space, if we cannot use it for customers, then it's not an essential part of the business. So we'll be complying with everything as necessary.
I'm just
Okay,
looking
go
at
ahead.
it, Donna, and so the application is for, currently it's just for occupancy only in the basement, which is your primary eating level. But the application that's currently at the Department of Buildings does not include changing the cellar level. So that still has no occupancy, that at least the Department of Building filings that I'm looking at. And that's because you have your kitchen, et cetera, down there. That's a pretty substantial change, and it looks like I'm not sure when you guys had engaged with the landlord on that, but it doesn't seem like it's in process to get to what you have in front of you that you presented to us.
I
And-
understood. I think that's something that we'll continue to work on and make sure that it's properly permitted.
And how long do you think it will be before you're ready to open?
I can't answer that immediately, but we can certainly find out. But all of it is in process, and we're working very closely with the landlord on all of this.
And is that 6 months? Is that a year? Is that?
I'm not sure offhand, but we
Right.
can certainly, investigate. We don't anticipate it being longer than 3 to 6 months.
And I just raise it because it's significant changes and it's a smaller building, and
Yeah.
going into the basement for a kitchen where it was previously a boiler room, I think is what it
Correct.
was listed as, is a significant use change, which we don't see too often. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, but we don't see it too often. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I just want to make sure I'm reading the diagrams and everything correctly. Of course. So people, they step down, it's a 6-step down, and it's a shared vestibule for the restaurant and for the residences above, right? They step down, and then if you go into residences, you go through the door that's straight ahead, and if you're going to the restaurant, you go to the door to the left?
That's correct.
Okay. And have you had outreach to the people who live above, or have letters or anything from them?
Yeah, we've reached out, we've posted a number of letters. We held a community open Zoom forum, so we posted throughout the neighborhood if anybody wanted to communicate with us on this. I did get an opportunity to speak with the West Village Association. And while we did hold those public forums, we did not have anybody attend, and we made sure to stay throughout the 2 hours that we listed on there. But we did not have anybody join us.
Okay, I mean, the reason I'm asking is, it is unusual. It's not unheard of, but it's unusual for us to see this sort of an entrance, shared entrance with a restaurant and eatery or something like that. I mean, it's more usual for like what it used to be, a vet clinic or an office or real estate agent or something. I'm also looking, so I'm taking it the restaurant is not ADA accessible.
No, and I don't think that we are able to change the front of it either.
Right.
With those
So
steps
those
down.
landmark, yeah.
Correct, yeah.
All right, those were my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Katie? What's the average check going to be?
So we're an affordable omakase. If you look at, there's a location just around the corner, I believe it's called Makoto. It starts at $125 per person, and I believe the average person spends close to $200. We are known as an affordable omakase. So it's a $60 omakase for the same quality and experience. And we're sort of, our motto is sushi for the people. So we want to give a very, very high-end, amazing sushi experience at a very affordable price point.
I have a question.
Thank you.
Dr. Smith?
Yeah, for $60, can you hear me?
Well, a little louder, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Is that for 1 hour, $60?
Yeah, so it's a 1 hour seating at the sushi bar, but we never tell people they have to get up and leave. That's why we have the lounge space so that they can continue to relax and enjoy the ambiance of the space. So it's a 1 hour seating with a chef at the counter. The chefs prepare and serve either a 12 or 17 course sushi meal right in front of you. And that takes place over the course of a 1 hour time period.
Hi, I do have one. I'm looking at Instagram
Yes.
and it seems like there's a lot of music involved in this. And I'm looking at the article on the post and it says that you trick out these small spaces with evocative lighting and rocking sound systems. And it's seeming a little bit more like a club than like a quiet omakase.
So it is still very much an omakase. The music that we play is a little bit more upbeat, but the volume is very much still at an ambient level. So what they mean with the music is, for example, we have a location on 32nd Street. It plays 90s hip hop. We have a location in Flatiron. It actually only plays 70s and 80s disco music. So it's more about the theme. The sound system that we put in, and you can see listed in the application, will be a basic Sonos system. These are not meant to get loud, and the intention is definitely not a club, because we can only accommodate the guests at the bar at a time. So, with the reservations being the primary or really only pretty much driver of business, it's 10 to 12 people in every hour, with room for 10 to 12 people who have just finished, or 10 to 12 people who are coming in for the next seating. So there is no, dancing or loud music or food service at the tables. It's really focused on the omakase counter.
Do you need a subwoofer?
I think we use one, but it's not a substantial. We
You don't need a subwoofer. I'm just
Yeah.
saying right now,
Yeah.
you don't need a subwoofer.
Understood.
And the other thing I'm going to say is, and thank you for bringing up the Instagram. stuff because I did look at that. If you have 12 people eating, 12 people sitting, waiting to eat, and 12 people sitting, waiting till they were finished eating, that means you have 24 people sitting, waiting, drinking, and only 12 people eating. The majority of your people are sitting around either waiting and drinking or
Well, not the majority, but it's more about the fact that if they don't want to immediately go back onto the street, they do have a place. And part of that is-
I mean, you're making it a place for them to sit and hang out, and you're putting a pool table downstairs.
Right, I understand.
That you can't turn around and say nobody's going to use. Go ahead. Dr. Smith, go.
On your application, you have checked off a volume level background quiet. So
Yes.
It doesn't quite sound like that with what your music that you.
Yeah, it is very much ambient level. It's just more that the music is themed specifically. But it's not at a very high volume.
Donna, I have one more question. So what theme are you going to choose for Greenwich Village music?
I think we're going to be going with a kind of village inspired theme. So that might be some jazz or, kind of components that are more local to the neighborhood itself.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Just to follow up here. So, I mean, I have a sound system and the bass is a critical component to that system. You're saying that there won't be any bass to the sound system that you're.
I don't believe it's currently spec'd out to have one.
Yeah, because I mean, generally speaking, sonar systems have a separate bass that.
Right, that you would have to add separately from the typical speaker systems. Yeah. So
Okay.
right now we only have spec'd out the typical speaker systems.
Okay, and then who lives above the space?
I'm not sure. Right now, we haven't heard from them despite the posting. And we've put quite a number of things. I'm not sure if it's currently occupied. When I was there a little while ago, I know they were redoing the space. But we haven't heard from the individual that lives above.
And you're going to share an entrance with the people that live above you?
Like a vestibule, not an entrance, but.
Yeah, so people go in and out, your patrons are going to be sharing an entrance to this location with the actual residents who live there.
I believe so.
Yeah, where's the mailbox?
The mailbox is, I believe, past that door. It's not in the vestibule area. It's past the door.
So the mailman comes in and has a key to the interior door?
I can't tell you the exact details, but I know that the mailbox is not in the vestibule area.
Okay, and you don't know if people actually live in there. What about soundproofing in a space where you want to play music that's never had music before?
Yeah, if necessary, and if we see that there are complaints from people above, again, we work very closely with the landlord on this one. So if necessary to bring in soundproofing, we would do so.
Okay, so when you say landlord, you're saying that the people that live above are all tenants?
Again, we haven't made contact with anybody that lives above.
Yeah, it's not a condo or a co-op above?
I just know it's residential.
Okay, I have some bigger things, but let's just follow up on this. So mailboxes are behind that residential door in the stairway and hall for the residences.
I believe so. The only thing I can tell you for certain is that they're not in the vestibule.
And that's where packages go as well.
I believe so.
Because we've had an issue in this community with package and mail theft. So I'm concerned when you talk about soundproofing being a matter of negotiation between you and the landlord. The landlord is not a concern. The people who live above you are, and landlords do not represent their interests. Okay?
Yeah.
So you haven't talked to the people who live above you, and there are some significant concerns, as I understand it. I mean, or questions that I still have about, the alteration or C of O for that basement. Can you withdraw the basement from this application?
We do need the prep space that's down there for certain.
No, he means.
I mean, the patron occupancy on the basement. No, I mean, not the kitchen, but you have seated, chairs and a pool table and a whole thing going on down here.
Yeah, I would have to confer, and we would have to just make sure that it still makes sense with Right,
the rest of
again,
the
it's
space.
not like I'm against you using or the seller, I should call it
Mhm.
properly, the seller. Against you using the seller in, like, because it's anti-community interest, but I am concerned on the technical issue, I'm not convinced that that's gonna be okay, legally speaking. And we know, both from our past experience and also from the direction we've been given by the SLA, that we are the ones responsible for looking out for that, not Understood. them and not the city, who, whatever, can't be trusted. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm just concerned that there are a lot of, I'm amazed that you've complicated an omakase, application, but, that there are a lot of unknown things here between the basement and the fact that there have been no conversations with the people above about the noise and, and there is only right now, your best guess of where the mailboxes are. I mean, there's just a lot of lack of clarity on this application. It's gonna make it very hard for me to feel comfortable voting for it. Yeah, I understand obviously the frontage can't be altered, because of the zoning is historic. And so the shared vestibule, whether it was any kind of business would be shared with, the residents as well. So, certainly understood, but there's no possibility of alteration for that front vestibule. Was not among the issues that I raised, right? The issue that I'm raising is a question about where the mail and packages go. Yes, but that's the minor issue. The more major issues are the lack of communication with the residents themselves above, and particularly around sound and noise, and sound noise abatement, and the lack of legal clarity on the patron use of the basement. So.
Yeah, understood. And just to, to address the tenant above, we have reached out, and I'm happy to share the posters that were held. And so we did encourage anybody to reach out to us, and, it hasn't been something that we've heard about.
I know let it go, but just to be clear, I'm not accusing you of doing anything nefarious or wrong or negligent. I'm just saying that despite your best efforts, I'm not sure, I don't feel like this is there yet for me. So, okay, thank you.
And yeah, it's a residential area. I'll go to the public first and then I have.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Nancy. Well, it's a very good.
Thank you, Donna. Nancy Paisley on this application. Yes, we did have a conversation this afternoon. Finally, it was not easy to make contact. I don't represent the residents of the building. I don't know who they are, and I cannot speak for them. Well, I do have a lot of concerns about this application, and in fact, the more we spoke this afternoon, the more concerns I had. First, basically, this is going from a community amenity, a vet's office, to a licensed premises, which is not a community amenity. I'm sorry. I do have a question on the use of the cellar space, especially since I'm not an expert on that kind of a thing, but I don't know if they can get permits for that. But more on the use of the premises, they have 15 seats at the curved bar where the sushi will be served. That's, I think, your standard omakase. I think I understand what that is. They have across the way another 14 seats plus 3 on a sofa, making 17, which they have characterized to me as waiting or lounge space, which is a word that raises some questions in my mind. The application shows 10 table seats on 6 tables, but I don't find 6 tables anywhere. Then in the cellar, they have more lounge waiting space where possibly things will be served, possibly not, with a pool table. I know what omakase is. A lot of omakases have only wine and beer. They just serve sake. This is asking for a full on-premise license, going from 0 to full speed in something that has never been licensed before. I know what lounge is, and the applicant has used that expression. I know what a pool hall is. I can't compute the three of them together. It makes no sense to me. I'm very much concerned that with more seats available for drinking than for eating, that this in fact is going to turn out to be some kind of a cocktail lounge in a small, old, soundproof, probably residential building. And I just cannot support this application. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Nancy.
Again, just one thing I would want to reiterate is that the overwhelming majority of our guests are reservation based, more than 95%. And that's just historical information.
Okay.
And so walk-ins are typically not really accepted. And so to the component of it becoming a bar, that's not our business model at really any of our locations.
Okay, so to that point then, and then I'll let Bob go, is the thing about the 24 people that are still there able to stay with all this seating that only a third of your seating is actually the food. So by the time they've made the reservation, technically they should be in and out in an hour or an hour and 15 minutes. But the other thing that bothers me now more, when you were asked if you could remove the patron use of the basement, and you said that you didn't know if that makes sense to remove it, you have 3 seats down there.
There's
So-
a couch area as well.
That's so I don't know where the 6 tables come from and the 10 seats and how many people are at the couch. You're talking 6 people for a place that's not to eat, and you're telling me that your primary business is people coming in and having omakase for an hour. So the two things, that statement and what you're saying to me now, don't align with each other.
The additional area and the additional seating is really just meant so that there's not large groups going in and out at a time. There's not a lot of upselling happening at those lounge areas. It's really just for people to either finish their drinks or have
But
a
you have
drink before
14
they start.
seats upstairs for people to finish their drinks.
But-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Point. So I'm looking at the floor plans that you provided. I'm looking at the questionnaire, and by the way, it's unfortunate Michael can't be here. We haven't seen him in a long time. I think the first time he was here was a long time ago. But I'm looking at these plans, and I see that you say there's 6 tables and 10 seats. I don't see 6 tables on the floor plans. You say there's 1 bar with 15 seats. So I'm assuming that's the seating with the stuff behind it. That's correct?
The stuff, the bar that's curved that has the equipment behind it, that is the sushi bar.
Right.
And then just the area with the
And then
curve
you have
is where
the counter seating, which is above, but these 6 tables and 10 seats.
Correct. Yeah.
What are those?
I think that it may have been, I think that there may be an updated one that includes like more cocktail, or not cocktail, but more circular table seating as opposed to the bar shelf.
Well, because I see, it looks like you have a sofa or couch in the front with the table.
Correct.
Right?
And that's a
Yeah.
waiting area as
So
well.
that's three seats and a table. You have another, apparently 2 seats, sofa in the basement with a table. Even, if this is to scale, it's the same size as the 3-seat sofa. And then you have these other 3 counter seats, it looks like, downstairs. So.
Right. Those are also like a bar ledge as well.
And then the numbers that you have for the seating, the application for the certificate of occupancy is only for 38 seats on what you're saying is the ground floor, which is actually the basement.
Got it. So the basement, it's showing 5 seats. Above, it's showing 12 seats at the bar. You'll notice that the 3 seats by the curve of the bar are shaded in lightly. And that's because we don't plan on having seats there. But we did want to show in the event of, a larger party that we had the ability to accommodate it, although that would not be the norm. Typically, it will only be 12 seats at that bar. And then the seats along the top, we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then also, so 14 seats at that ledge.
Right. So how many seats then are there total?
So the ledge is 14. The ledge opposite the sushi bar is 14.
Right.
The waiting area in front probably is 3 to 4, depending on kind of the party configuration. The downstairs, again, it's either 2 or 3 at that sofa, and then 3 at the bar downstairs, at the ledge downstairs.
Okay, so at the sushi bar there, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
The sushi bar is 12.
So it's we've got 32 occupancy upstairs, is that right? That's the number for 32 on the ground floor? What you have listed as the ground floor, which is actually the basement, and then there's patron occupancy in the cellar. But the numbers that are on the filings are just a total of 38 for what you have listed as the ground floor. And there's no patron occupancy for the basement on the Department of Building filings.
Got it. Okay.
And that's a little bit gray, if you start talking about employees, but a certificate of occupancy, generally the cap, that number includes patrons, employees, everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't see how these numbers pencil out.
The 36 and then staff. So it's
I'm assuming my experience, and by no means an expert, but generally omakase have a staff heavy.
No, ours is very light.
It's very light. So
correct.
So how many employees would there?
Typically it's 2 sushi chefs.
Right.
There's typically 1 maitre d', a bartender, and a cleaner.
Okay, and so that doesn't leave anything then that adds up to 37 people, and there's only 38.
Understood.
CFO, so
Right.
And that doesn't include the basement at all. So I'm just wondering if you can either not have patron occupancy of the basement now at this moment, or if you can give us something that shows whatever you're proposing
Understood.
or applying for that, because I think it's difficult with some of these other issues, particularly given, that the basement level is, if it's the same scale, if it's directly underneath what you proposed on the ground floor, it's actually fairly large.
Because of the mechanical, so behind the couch is a large mechanical room.
Right.
Below the pool table area is a large mechanical area. And to the left is all storage, refrigeration, and prep space. So it's substantially smaller, as well as the fact that the stairs kind of take up quite a bit of space. The house itself is not large.
So would you be serving sushi in the basement, or what's the?
No, so we really serve omakase only at the bar.
Cellar.
Yeah.
So what would what would patrons be doing?
It would really just be a space for them to either wait before their omakase or after their omakase.
And where would they be eating? Because
they would be eating at the bar upstairs, at the curved bar.
Right. So I'm just asking, what would the lower level next to the kitchen, what is that used for then?
It's again more extension of the waiting area.
Okay. So
Carter,
that-
can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Is-
so I mean, so people are coming in, playing pool while they're waiting to go upstairs. I just, okay.
Are
The
they,
kitchen's downstairs, isn't?
are you serving, if someone wants to order a drink downstairs, can they order a drink?
They would need to come upstairs in order to be able to get it, or a server would have to take the drink. But there is not going to be a satellite bar or, you know, direct service happening in the basement. It really is meant for holding guests before and after their experience.
And what's under the pool table, did you say?
Below the pool table on the bottom part of the page.
You said there's some mechanical equipment?
Yes, that's a mechanicals room that guests don't have access to.
Underneath?
No, no, on the lower portion of the plan, not underneath it, because that's the lowest level. Where the circles are, those are mechanicals. Yeah.
And the kitchen is downstairs, so the sushi is brought up.
No, the sushi is all prepared at the counter upstairs. The downstairs area is for storage and for processing of fish. And then the entirety of the service. So that area isn't used.
So all
for-
those boxes I see in the bar are more like
Those are refrigerators.
refrigerators.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only one small bar station, which is at the curve.
Uh-huh.
That's the one you'll notice, that's the only ice well. All the other things throughout the rest of the bar are refrigerators and tables.
Okay, I think that does it for me. Does anybody else have anything? Yes, Bob.
Yeah, so every place you have in the New York City area closes at 11. Why are you asking for 1 AM here?
So our last reservation is at 11 on the weekends. Meaning the last time that guests can come in is at that point. And meaning we're done by midnight. And then, you know, again, it's more of the ability so that guests aren't spilling out into the street all at once for the 1 AM on the
Right,
weekend.
but everything they'll advertise Sushi by You in New York City says it closes at 11.
The last seating is at 11. So the last reservation you can make is at 11. So after that 11 o'clock seating, it's no guests are able to come in for additional reservations.
And would you consider beer and wine?
I think that it's very challenging given the size of the space and that we're only going to have.
Except that this was never licensed before, so.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's, you know, our brand is sort of like meant to be very accessible, sake and wine.
So
it's not-
why didn't you find a place that's been licensed before? Why do you have to go with this place? Is
Yeah.
it a veterinarian hospital or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we
You want cheap rent, you want to.
no, certainly not. But we did see an opportunity for something that's not in that area, which is an affordable high-end.
We have so many empty storefronts throughout our community board where there were liquor licenses, but you don't want to go there.
Yeah, it's again, a little kind of a decision that the ownership team has made.
Because the rent is cheaper. Right.
I don't believe that that's the impetus for it. I think it's the, you know, the area is a great area.
You were asked before by another member of the board about, you know, how you're finding basements and basement spaces and turning them into licensed locations in New York. I mean, why is that the method? Why is that the method of the operation that's chosen by Sushi by You?
We're sort of known as like a hideaway or speakeasy. So it's meant to be a place that's, you know, like a found space. So, and that helps create kind of a more intimate and special ambiance for people.
Okay. Well, I asked my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything? No. Okay, I think we're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't see anybody else left in the room, but just to be sure here, Sabor Argentino Corp, 57 7th Avenue South for a corporate change. And 2 guys in a fish tank doing business at Cecchi's Bar and Grill, 105 West 13th on-premise restaurant. This is for an alteration to add sidewalk seating. I see no one. Okay, go. You can speak to it. Can you do me one favor? Can you use a microphone while you do that?
For the application for, sorry, let me just get to it, for the 2 guys in a fish tank.
Yep.
Because they submitted all the materials and I don't know if there's some confusion or not. with respect to that application, I would think that we might consider offering them a stipulation of closing the outdoor dining at 10
10
PM
o'clock, yeah.
for the 2 tables and 4 seats, in which case if they were willing to add some sort of addendum to their existing stipulation, I think the committee might consider waiving their
Yes.
appearance, provided that they meet all of the outdoor dining requirements.
And they submitted the outdoor dining form with all the measurements and arcways and everything like that. And it looks like it all conforms. The only thing they didn't indicate on there, which I was going to give them a heads up on that, was that the primary building entrance, they didn't check that off, but they have adequate space from it. So
Yeah, I
it's
just,
not a
in a,
problem. Yeah.
in the interest of moving this
Yeah, yeah,
forward.
yep.
And
so-
also, given that it's in a residential only zone. And you know, that I think that would be consistent with modifying the stipulations that they originally had
Yep.
agreed to.
Valerie, we're not in business session yet, but go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. We're in public session, so. Yeah, what? I'm gonna offer to give them stipulations if the committee votes on it, but we haven't had our business session yet, so we haven't done that. That's it? Okay, so can we just take a break for a minute? Thanks. And that's the condition of the license, and then there, the argue about that license, the whole thing is because of that you can't make up your thing, and this is just, this is.
Against the interstate years, and it's not a previously. The court determined that a liquor will be agreed. Last hearing, the conditions on a license for space means that this can not feel. Open and then we resolve it, but what we have here is it's the same reason for the liquor license, which is everything that's sort of in a gray area never falls like that. And once again, you know, they took out a portion of the fence, but not the part they didn't want to, even though they told to. And this is sort of the underlying issue that we have. And just follow the rules. And I was looking at the old sidewalk cafe plan, and they misrepresented to the city that there's a need for clearance. But the whole plan is going all the way back to the records. And so it wasn't really longevity. Because the representation, they know, you know, the city may issue the license, what they represented. And so it would be nice if they would just follow the rules, file the sidewalk campaign plans, and accommodate that. Move forward with this. Yeah, that would be it.
And yeah, that's the thing I didn't even say before. It's the whole thing about not being, you know, the gap in there. That's why I was saying that I know about it. Was that's
either the city, so a closed sidewalk is a point I think that the city had issued. They said in the new program that they don't have to keep that they previously closed and they have or whatever regulations are for they will have to pay for it like they pay. But this enclosure will be in this. That may mean that it's already been used by the liquor authorities or so that's yeah, and I think they changed that thing in the program.
they closed it in 2017.
Yeah. I think they need to be kind of a little bit different. They expand. But I don't think that's really
It's not the issue, but
the issue here. But it would be helpful if they could present this something.
Very well.
It's like weird, taking pictures are not framed.
No,
Now, that one here. They didn't say how they offer or not. But they said you table, no chair, anybody wants to keep it out. Yeah, and just you're taking pictures of the when you take them and say that this is how the story is, whatever it is. Because these pictures are close and you're due in, you have done it over
Where. I think it was the way the photograph may have been delivered or something, but I can't. Yeah. The picture is 1,000 words or whatever that thing is. And then they'll say, okay, well, how do we know that it's alcohol? Okay, but I'm just thinking, it's helpful to have a glass, those red line. Looks like it's alcohol. And I didn't see the picture, but gone. I thought Aperol. You know what? Aperol for everyone, I know everything. I don't know what it's called. They're not supposed to put it in part. So in the next one, yeah. I wasn't gonna say this. The tone that we take. And I just want to watch that because it extracts information from the application. And we're sitting on a stage and I don't know you from the board and I know that, but especially when it's not the application. Yeah, and they already. There's not that level of conversation, and there clearly, I think, a lot of those statements is very focused on, over man, reporting of them, rather than they have operated in. But really, it's like this is going to be character and the fact where we can do yeah, and I follow. I mean, there's some other things, but I think you're right. They're still doing a job. That they've done significant due diligence. They're examining.
I get that we have to ask hard questions. That's really what this coming up. I just wanted to figure out. Okay. They agree for a lot of stuff because the hours of that. We bring stipulated no staff applicants to the rear yard. This Wednesday at 11. Yeah. There's nothing in the rear yard. Sorry, didn't say they wanted to. Team vote, there's no. There's no different. So we. Also, the everyone to the one more on the first, they agree to not and the windows. There is on the council thing on the outdoor. 24 private studies a year and just year. No, what do we do? The air is the wood out. Now we all demand like
No more options. You're I know someone in the city.
You know, it's interesting. That the restaurant, that they didn't almost say we're gonna be closed.
Well,
That restaurant. Because they had either this entire.
Even the restaurants that survive have far reduced capacity. Many of them are only open in the afternoon and after dinner, right? Or they used to be, you know, here.
Ricky, the one that like that pretty close. Not like a restaurant door.
I didn't feel like information.
What else can you hear? Yeah. What else would be? Only computers.
Could be legit.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't fit.
What do we do?
I mean, the concern is that it's destination. We don't know. We don't have all information. The occupancy, the stack of the kitchen, into what. This is one of those like they're only I think they're all positioned, but you know, not just the vote, communicating our concerns. Here. I was thinking more the impact. The noise, people in and out. All the things that, you know. Yeah.
Because the people don't spill out on the street, it's like there's 20 people. Right. That's why you pool table.
And the owner doesn't come.
You know, the withdrawn application. Like a guy came for doing the other concept. And this is part of it. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Be all for but if other kinds of business. So there are other kinds of businesses that provide space that are not part of it. So my point is, there are also actually the kind of businesses that still are. Well, or well, then they're all. Yeah, it's not a business. So there's like Apple thing, it's more like This person is taking. Another. Now, I also. It's not like they're. Maybe talk about this. Yeah. You guys would say.
Everybody, denial,
Recommendation.
Okay. And then the other thing, you want to make this.
Oh, well, I don't, that person still.
No.
They want to still. So if they have a mistake.
Oh, in it. I don't think my. And that's pretty basic.
So if they continue to close the line.
It's over. One person completely new person. So, they said there was more, not the whole person here. Yeah, we got. Say what we have done, yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah.